Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It is the long-awaited return, because you missed us for an entire week, of the dungeon of the Doctors of Doom Fantasy Sports Podcast, where I am your host, Alex the Shark Sparks, and joining me, the full squad once again. Give it up for my co-host, Mitch. He's sweating it on the fence, Black, and our fearless producer, the PTO Prince himself. Give it up for Vinny, the Clinch, Santucci. Gentlemen, we took a week off for the holiday. A lot happened last week. A lot happened this week. We don't even have time for other sports. We got to stay on football because there's so much going on. The fantasy playoffs approaching. But say hello to all the Delvers out there, gentlemen.
Hello.
We are the champions. We are... Oh, sorry. I know you guys all have to sweat it out this week, so I just thought
I don't have to sweat it out.
Take the week off.
I'm also in the playoffs, and I have the same record as you, so why don't you just hush your mouth, all right? Just because you have a weak division doesn't mean that you're any better off. So, yeah,
Honestly,
we'll get to that.
I feel like losing this week is in my best interest, so that way you and Matt just have to duke it out again.
Dude, I was thinking that. I was like, honestly, like, depending on how this week goes, it affects seeding, but not, like, which just affects who you play. Like, it's not, in fantasy football, it's not like there's actual home team.
All right, Alex.
That's a good question.
I'll propose the question. Who do you want to play, me or Vinny? Oh, wait, it's between...
Oh, yeah, I don't think you is an option, but it would definitely be you. Like, 100%. But I don't think that's an option. But, no offense, but yeah. Although, I don't know it'll be you, because you are sweating on the fence, because if you lose to Dad, who I think has more wins against you than any other manager in our league history, and Austin wins that division.
Yeah, I'm gonna go based off breakdown, hopefully, and not other years' team.
We'll get to that. We'll get to fantasy. We'll get to our fantasy league. I know we want to chat about that because, like I said, there's a couple weeks. It was super interesting last week, and I wanted to record it. I was going to record a solo episode because you guys weren't available because there was so much going on. But I also had a lot going on. I went out of town for the holidays. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your friends, families, or just at home and got the day off work or whatever. Or if you had to work, hopefully you get paid extra for working on a holiday. But yeah. A lot to talk about, so we'll cover sports first. I know we're all excited about our fantasy league. We will get to that, but there's a lot of sports news to cover, so I'm going to dive right into it, boys. So we're going to start us off with the one non-pro football story, which is going to be the college football story, Lane Kiffin. For those who don't know, Lane Kiffin is known for being a thief in the night and just disappearing and going and coaching elsewhere. And he's done it once again, but this time it is even more interesting. Ole Miss is currently playoff bound in the college football playoff race, and he is out the door and on his way to LSU, abandoning his team in the middle of the playoff race. It's kind of crazy to me that he's doing that, but that's just because of how the way college football is set up, where in order to sign recruits for signing day happening during the season, he has to leave now. So he was kind of in a position where he had to leave early, which kind of hoses Ole Miss and makes him look like a bad guy yet again, which I'm sure he doesn't care about. He already has that reputation. But what are you guys' thoughts on this? Do you think it was a good decision for him to leave like he did? Should he have stayed at Ole Miss? Should he have done it a different way? What do you guys thoughts on this? Do you think this should be allowed? How do you guys feel?
For the Lane Kiffin stuff, I don't think it's anything. I think it's just the NCAA, or not the NCAA rules anymore, but it's the SEC rules and what they're allowing for these other conferences ever since the realignment. Someone needs to sit down. You need to have. I know the NCAA was corrupt as hell and no one liked them and they were terrible, but you need to have some kind of governing body like Lanky, the commissioner of the SEC. I know he's basically the commissioner of football when you're the commissioner of SEC already, but someone needs to come down and lay some rules out. This is the transfer portal. This is the times you can leave. And then they really need to truly switch around signing day when the kids declare which colleges they're going to, because the reason why these coaches are leaving early rather than playing out the year is for signing day. If Lane Kiffin doesn't say, hey, I'm going to LSU already, signing day was, I believe, yesterday morning or this morning, actually. So where are these kids going to pick if they don't even know where their coaches are going? So it's just a matter of scheduling. You need to move back the portal, move back signing day, and all these things. That's about it, and then it'll all fix itself. As far as Kiffin going to LSU, like, if he didn't have the history he had, no one cares. No one, like, LSU gets their guy. I mean, that's not. I mean, what they've had two national championship winning coaches in the last 12 years, and they both got fired a year or two after they won the national title. This isn't like I don't. I think this is just the bigger schools. What do they have? A
Well,
budget
I
for?
think that's why it's a story, Mitch, for two reasons. Not to jump to your point there, but just because I wanted to touch on what you said. One is I think it's a bigger story because he's leaving a team that's in the playoff race, right? Usually
Yeah.
it's like for example, Summerall who left Tulane to go and coach at Florida. It's like, okay, cool, but like he left Tulane, right? Like, yeah, they had a good season, that's great, and it's tough for the players that he left, but like no
No
big deal
offense or
because
anything. Ole Miss
their season's
really,
over. They have one game left. It's going to be a bowl game, the Pac Sun Bowl, whatever it is, doesn't matter, right? Whereas
right.
Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss, they're in the college football playoff. They could win a natty this year, and he's not going to be there for it.
So also a side point to what you just said. Apparently, Lane Kiffin went in and did not ask because he's got the best agent in all of college football and in pro football too. Sorry, in all of football. And he basically told him, "I don't want to know the money or whatever. I just want to know the situation or whatever." So apparently, if we believe it or not, Lane Kiffin doesn't know the the amount he's going to get paid at LSU, and they worked into the contract that if Ole Miss wins, he still gets all his bonuses. Isn't that crazy? So if Ole Miss wins this weekend or whatever, and or moves on to playoffs, he gets every single bonus tied to it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm
Gets
sure he
fully
does,
paid
but
out.
you still can't tell me that's not going to hurt. I
My question to you,
because if
Alex,
you're
is
going to LSU, you're going there because you think it's a better job, right? Because the whole point is to win a national championship. So in my mind, if you're leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU, that tells me, and first of all, I don't believe he doesn't know what the money is. But let's say he I'm sure he knows, but let's say he doesn't care what the money is, which is kind of what you're implying. If it's
Yeah.
true that he doesn't care about the money, then the only thing he cares about is success. So what
Yes.
you're saying is by making this decision, he doesn't believe he can win at Ole Miss, and he does believe he can win at LSU. So if Ole Miss
Blame
goes
NIL.
on to win without him this year,
Yeah.
then I think that just means that he made the worst decision possible.
Well, look what he's done with the recruits at these places. I'm not, in the South, and I'm not the big SEC guy. You know what I mean? What's his name? Rosen, whatever, with the radio show and everything. So I'm not pretending to know like other people know, but like Ole Miss's NIL is probably a quarter of what LSU NIL is. And if he's put Jackson Dart and what's his name at Ole Miss on the map from recruiting, imagine the recruits he's going to have available to him at LSU. He's going to have the Joe Burrows of the litter or whatever. So yes, if it is all about success, you can't pass this up. LSU,
Right? No, no, Mitch.
how
I'm
many
not
jobs
saying
are better,
LSU is
Alex?
not a better job than Ole Miss. LSU is a better
Yeah.
job than Ole Miss. I get that.
Well,
What
how
I'm
many
saying
jobs are
is,
better, Alex? How many jobs are better in the college? Bama maybe.
Than LSU?
well, it depends. It
I
depends on
would,
what
know,
say
you're.
too.
there's a, I would say there's a significant amount better than LSU.
Really, I would love to hear which you think they have won two national titles. Okay, let's hear it. Vinny.
Well, but so here's my thing though. Like as far as it being a good job, it's not just about the place. Like I would be concerned taking a job at LSU after what they just tried to pull with the coach they fired. They tried to have him fired for cause, meaning they didn't have to pay him. Like and that and then as soon as he tried to sue them and they backed off real quick. But it's like the fact that they tried to hose their last coach like that would concern me if I'm going there. But anyway, the point that I was making was if all Lane cares about is winning a natty, if you leave Ole Miss and Ole Miss goes on to win a natty, I don't think they will. But let's say they go on to win the natty this year, you can't tell me this isn't a horrible decision because your whole goal was to win a national championship, and you walked away from a team that could have done it.
I would like to hear Vinny's opinion, but Alex, I think that's the only scenario he doesn't win. I think out of the 100 different scenarios that can happen, I think Ole Miss winning the national title is the only scenario he doesn't win in. And real quick, Vinny, Nick Saban 2003, Les Miles 2007, Ed Orgeron 2019 won national titles. Nick Saban is different because he left for the Dolphins within a year, but the other two are fired within a season and a half after winning a national title. So yeah, what Lane Kiffin
Whose
better
job security is not a
know.
thing either. Like Lane
Yeah.
was set for life at Ole Miss.
That's what I'm saying. So Lane Kiffin better know, even if you come here and win a national title, you better be the next Nick Saban, excuse me, and win consistently, or you're just gone in a year anyways. So this better be all about trying to win a national title because even when you win one, they're still going to get rid of it. Well, Vinny, I would like to know what you think are better college jobs than LSU.
I mean, I would say Alabama for sure, Georgia for sure. I would put Texas a better job. I would consider Ohio State, Michigan probably better programs to be in.
It's also not
Um,
just the programs. Like Mitch, your argument was NIL money. Like if you're arguing NIL money, there are some schools out there that have some crazy NIL money. Like Oregon has a ton of NIL money because of Nike,
Yeah.
right? That like they may not be a traditional powerhouse, but they've been good over the last few years. And when it comes to NIL, they've got the money.
I think if anything, LSU, and Alex can correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's a historical program. I know they have NIL money. I know they've won some recent national championships, but there's, in my opinion, they're still not on the same echelon as those like historical programs like the Bamas, the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Texas, the Georgias. Like, I just don't think LSU is in that same stratosphere, but it's definitely better than Ole Miss. And here's the thing, I think him saying I have no clue how much money they're going to pay me is such a cop out. Like he knew he was getting a raise. Like you don't just go to LSU who's in desperate need of a coach and not get a raise, right? So
So, Vinny, just to jump in here, according to Yahoo Finance, LSU is number 3 on NIL spent this year.
it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And Miami's 2, Texas is 4, and Bama's 1, Oklahoma 5. So, yeah, I do think, and you're right, the Oregon stuff would be interesting. If I was a player, okay, I have another question for both of you. If you were a player on Ole Miss, do you want Lane Kiffin coaching you in the playoffs in a couple weeks?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Even though he's already left you.
yeah, 100%.
Yes.
He still got us here, right? Like
Yeah.
because what he's doing now is he is abandoning his team in the middle of the season. If you tell
He
me,
wanted
hey,
to coach though.
right, but like if you tell me, hey guys, at the end of this year, I'm going elsewhere. You're not abandoning me in the middle of the season. You're telling me in advance, and then I can choose if I want to go in the transfer portal and transfer with you to that school if you want me, right? Like I still have options, or if you don't want me, I can choose do I want to stay here or transfer somewhere else. But bailing in the middle of the season, and again, yes, I get what you're saying, Vinny. He's kind of handcuffed. He didn't really have a choice. He had to bail in the middle of the season. But what I'm saying is like, yeah, if I'm a player on Ole Miss this season, I want him to coach me through the end of the season. People come and go because these players, they're all about NIL too, right? Like how many of these guys are guys who transferred to Ole Miss from somewhere else because it was a better program or better money, so they understand it. I mean, yes, they're kids, but they're not kids, right? You're an adult when you're 18. Like most of them are going to understand there's a business aspect to this. So you saying, hey, after this year I'm leaving, the business aspect, they can respect that, but you leaving and not coaching me in the big game when it matters, that's a lot harder to respect.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they need to just move the signing day, and then coaches won't leave so early. I think
Anyway,
coaches
so
are leaving. Yeah.
just because we have, not to interrupt you, but just we have so much to talk about, so I do want to, Vinny, we never really heard your take. So Mitch is on board with, he thinks this was the right move for Kiffin. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't see a world where it's not the right move for Kiffin. Listen, I know he had it made at Ole Miss, and you can say that as much as you want, but like you don't just turn down what is a better program and more money. I saw an article the other day. It was like, listen, can you name me any of your friends that would turn down a 40% pay raise to go to a better company? Probably not.
No, but
Right?
my friends don't make $10 million a season.
I get that. I get that. But if you just look at it from like a money standpoint, and it's LSU, like as much as I don't think it's on the same level, if there is a venue, I've told everybody this. If there was any singular sporting event that I would like to go to, besides maybe like the Super Bowl,
Death
I want to
Valley.
go to a night game in Death Valley where LSU is on top of the world and they're playing like an Alabama or Georgia. I can't imagine a better environment than a night game in Death Valley when LSU's in competition
I
and they're
can.
playing another
When Auburn's
historic.
also in competition, they go and beat them.
And
War Eagle.
Vinny,
Or-
everything you just said, imagine being the head coach at that home game. Like that's so cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I just hope Lane just starts pulling a Les Miles, just starts chomping down grass over there on the sidelines.
I'm excited to see what he's gonna do with he's supposedly a better recruiter, and the type of recruits that go through LSU is like just insanely good pro prospects. So
Oh yeah,
I'm
no,
just
What do you think?
LSU is going to be a powerhouse for sure. Look, it's a great move for LSU. There's no
for
doubt about
sure.
that. And for long term success, see that's where it gets me though, because like you said, Mitch, if you don't see success, or even if you do, if you stumble after that success, they will
Gone.
cut you. Whereas he's built up enough clout at Old Miss, I think he could easily be there for the next 15 years, make a ton of money, and be a living legend on that campus and in that state.
Very true.
And
Very fair.
that for me would be very hard to walk away from. But I'm also a very loyal person, as you guys know. I'm loyal to friends, and I'm loyal to fantasy players even when I shouldn't be. So I'm not built the same way. But yeah, fair enough. That wanted to bring up.
What do we think Lane's like recruiting pitch? Do you think he's just like, listen, so Rorty girls, and then they're just like, all right, I'm in, coach.
His pitch is like, I produce pro players no matter where I go, and you're supposed to be a 5-star. I've turned 2 stars into pro players. Let's go do this.
Yeah, I mean his pitch now is going to be easy. I left a team that was in the college football playoffs to come here because I think this team will be better, and I want you on it.
Yeah.
How do you say no to that?
Yeah, also we're gonna find out today, tomorrow, next day when the signing and the portal happens a little bit after, whatever. We're gonna see how many players leave to join him, to follow him.
Yeah, it's like my last quarterback is a starter in the NFL. My current quarterback has the team playing for a national title, and I walked away from that because I think this program with you on it will be better.
And it's gonna be like the next Joe Burrow or something. Just
Also,
sitting at home.
here's $5 million. Like, I mean, those are you had that. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Another big signing. Mitch, your favorite. Check this one out. This happened today. Mark Andrews gets a 3-year extension worth $40 million. He's 30.
No way.
He's played terrible the last 2 years. $26 million of it is guaranteed. What? The Ravens are in the upside down right now because they've been terrible, which we'll talk about later. But Mark Andrews was great, and I'm not throwing shade at Mark Andrews, but this isn't. Tony Gonzalez didn't make this kind of cheddar, and all he did was put up 800-yard ATD seasons for his entire career. Mark Andrews is coming off like a fluky 400-yard 6 TD season. This year, I don't know what it's at, but it's not great. And he just got offered a $40 million 3-year extension with $26 million guaranteed.
Okay, so this might be just I'll give you the answer first, the importance of tight ends. But okay, rank these tight ends in order, okay?
Okay.
TJ Hawkinson.
Hold on, am I ranking them based on how good they are or how they're playing this year?
Yeah, you're how good you think, like rank the number one guy or whatever. Just like
okay, so if I could have them on a team, not based on how they're actually playing or how their team is.
Yeah, or if you had all these guys as free agents and
Sure.
you had the first bid to pay the guy the highest or whatever.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Cool.
Hawkinson, Goddard, Njoku, Komet, Freiermuth, Schultz. Where does Andrew fit in there? Or does he not fit in there?
Okay,
think
I have
he's-
Hawkinson is 1 and Schultz is 2. What were the? Give me the rest of them.
Goddard,
Oh, interesting. I have Goddard as 1.
Goddard 3 probably.
Joku, Komet, Freiermuth.
I mean,
Andrews
Joku's
is
been
definitely
so
better
bad
than
this
those
year,
guys.
but it's hard to say because he doesn't have a quarterback, right? I definitely
Right.
don't want Komet or Freiermuth, so I guess I'll put Andrews at 4, Joku at 5, and then take your pick with the last two.
Yeah, so he's right in the middle now with $14 million a year. So he's right below Goddard, right above Njoku. So we're all kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah, but
I
that
think
doesn't mean
that's
they're not
just the price.
overpaid. But also,
Yeah, that's true.
the thing about those guys you named, most of those guys are younger. He's 30.
That is true too.
Like, I mean, yeah, Joku's older, but Hawkinson is younger, and then a couple of those guys were real young. I can't remember. I can't remember all the names you said. I don't have them in front of me, unfortunately. But like,
Goddard's the only one that's like the older. Than
yeah, I
him,
think I didn't mention. Yeah, Goddard's older, but I think Goddard and Joku are older. I think all those other guys are younger than Mark Andrews.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't know why
I don't
they-
know how you watch Mark Andrews play football right now and think, man, I'm going to pay that guy $14 million.
We're 13 games into the NFL season, which means they've had a bye, so they've played 12 games, and he has 37 catches. I mean, he catches 3 passes a game, right? And they're going to pay him
A year.
$40 million for that.
Yeah, 14 a year.
And I mean, the amount of times I've watched him drop passes, like,
They
you know
lost in
my
the
take.
playoffs last year because of his drops.
We can rewind this podcast about a year where I just loathe Mark Andrews for dropping that 2-point conversion. But the fact that I've watched him also do that routinely throughout the season, I'm like, bro.
Like, and this isn't shade at Mark Andrews. Look, first of all, I'll always be anti-management and pro player. Go get your bag. So good on you, Mark Andrews. I'm happy for you as a person. I'm just saying, like, as a football person, like, when you just look at what he's done, like, 852, 701, 1361, 847. The last 3 seasons, look at the drop-off. 544, missed a ton of games with injury. Played the full season, only 673. This is the least yards he's had in his entire career that he played a full season last year. And this year, he's on pace for what? 450? Like,
I think it might be the importance of like the personnel where like 2 tight ends is getting run more. So like I think the tight end value position is just going up, and they're just kind of in a market right now. It's kind of not really known.
Well, also the Ravens are terrible right now. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Put some more money in the defense. I don't know.
I knew both you guys were gonna have not positive opinions of that, so I wanted to bring it up.
His
yards not the right podcast to ask. Sorry, Vinny.
His yards per catch has only been below 12 one time, and that's when he had 73 catches for almost 900 yards. It was at 11.6. Every other time it's above 12, somewhere in the 13s. He's averaging 9 yards per catch this year. He has a 25% reduction on what his normal yards per reception is as well. So it's like, did he earn the bag? Did he earn it this, like, right now? You would think they'd be moving on. Like, I don't know. It's wild.
All right, speaking of moving on, we're going to get to some more recent news. So again, some of this news is going to be from last week, some of it's going to be from this week, some of it's going to be for both. So the first one, boys, I'll give you a trivia question here. There are only 2 players in NFL history who have a 300-yard passing game and a 25-yard receiving game in the same game. Can you name them?
Say it again, please.
2 players in NFL history have 300 passing yards and 25 receiving yards in the same game.
300 passing and 25 receiving. Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston is one of them. Do you know who the other one is?
Mike Vick.
Is it Peyton Manning?
It's Tom Brady. So Jameis Winston is now equal with Tom Brady after, again, this wasn't this week, it was last week. Yeah. Famous Jameis was everything you wanted him to be. Entertaining as all get out. And if you didn't see it, the catch, stiff arm, and touchdown was amazing. So yeah, that was a fun one. It was great while it lasted, man. It was so nice to get to see Jameis Winston.
The slow juke yeah, on as well.
It was like the Jimmy Hawkins unnecessarily slow moving spin move. That's the vibes it gave me. It was great.
Well, Dark keeps playing this way. Jameis might be in sooner than we think.
Speaking of the old guard, this stat is now a couple of weeks old. But this was not from this past week, but from before. Since week 6, who do you guys think are the top 5 in passing yards? So over the last basically 5 to 6 games, who do you think are the top 5 in passing yards in the NFL?
Top 5 in passing yards.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can look it up, but don't, because that defeats the purpose.
No, I'm not. I know one of them's not Lamar.
You couldn't be more right on that.
I want to sit here and I want to say Bryce Young is in there.
I think it was Dak, actually.
It's not Bryce, not Dak.
Wow.
Yeah. Is it Caleb?
Not Caleb. You think I would have had a pro Caleb segment on the show?
I don't know. I thought we'd never guessed that. That's why I was thinking that. I thought you were pulling one on him.
Yeah. In the last 5.
Is one of them Bryce Young?
You've already guessed that, and the answer was still no.
Wait, when did you say Bryce Young? I was thinking.
Vinny
said Bryce Young.
Oh, my bad. I was in hard, deep thought.
This is actually really hard. I think quarterback play has been pretty bad the last 5 weeks. So
I will give you a hint. I named this thing that I have saved the old guard. If that helps.
The old guard.
Darnold, Stafford, and...
So Stafford is for sure on there then.
So far, you guys are all batting zeros.
Is Brissett old? I don't know.
Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett, yes. In only 5 games, not 6 like some of the other guys on this list, is number 2 with 1,570 yards.
He is. I didn't even know how old he is. He's 33.
Aaron Rodgers?
No, not Rodgers.
Who's old?
One more old person. The other 3 are young.
Is Darnold old? I forget. How old's Darnold?
I mean, is this Flacco or does the Burrow game?
It is Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco at number 5, again with only 5 games played, was at 1,453 yards. So the
He's
list:
really
Drake May, Jacoby Brissett, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Joe Flacco. I just think it's crazy that when you're talking about the passing leaders of the last 6 weeks, Brissett and Flacco are both on the list. Have only played 5 games, not 6 because of buys. I think that's just.
I forgot about Drake May. Man, what a year for Drake May to pop off. Everybody else kind of having a down
Brissett.
year.
Does Jacoby Brissett have a starting job in the NFL next year? With how he's played this
I
year?
mean, do you watch Jacoby Brissett and think Kyler Murray doesn't deserve a starting job in the NFL?
That's what
I think.
That's more likely. I think this is more an indictment on every time I watch. This is more of an indictment on Murray for me, in my opinion. Maybe Brissett is really good. I apologize, but he's never been good for 31, 32 years, and now he's good.
But Sam Darnold wasn't good for his first few years, right? So like,
That's true.
but yeah, I think that's where the question lies: is what happens because like obviously, look, the Cardinals are probably going to look to move on, right? I don't think the Cardinals think he's their future. Maybe they do, but like based on how he's playing, it's hard. It's really hard for me to say that he doesn't deserve a starting job in the NFL. At least a chance, you know. So.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, like, oh, he's 33. Well, like, QB's played till they're 40 now if they're good. Like, he's got that 33. I mean, he's got at least 5 years left at that rate, you know? And it's not like you're going to offer him a 5-year deal anyway. You're going to give him a 3-year deal if you sign him. So.
yeah, I don't know. That's tough. I would not like to be in an Arizona front office right now with that decision because
All I know is if they put Kyler back in at some point during fantasy football playoffs, I am going to kill somebody.
I mean, the only way Kyler goes back in is if Jacoby Brissett gets injured. There's no way they bring him back and have him play.
Yeah.
Which I guess is going to bring me to that's a good trend. Oh, go ahead, Mitch. Or go ahead, Vinny.
No, I was just going to say, I just as a Trey McBride truther, guy is putting up Rob Gronkowski numbers with Jacoby Brissett. So.
yeah, rewind probably a month and a half ago when I was like, McBride's doing okay with Kyler. I do not see a step up with Brissett. That offense is going to suffer. I was down at he got better, so I'll eat crow on that one. Yeah, Brissett. You need Brissett for McBride's fantasy value.
All right. Well, I think that's a good transition. You talked about does Kyler Murray deserve a job? So we'll talk about because of injuries and Kyler being held out with an injury. You know who else has been held out with an injury? J.J. McCarthy. So for those who don't know, after the game 2 weeks ago, so not during, after the game, on the plane ride home, he went into concussion protocol. Which, look, I'm not saying he didn't have a concussion necessarily, but like, it's really strange to me that it wasn't until the plane ride home that he goes into the protocol and they don't want to start him, and so they start someone else. Carson Wentz, the story also came out. Carson Wentz, who had been playing for him earlier in the season, he was playing through a torn labrum. So Carson Wentz with a torn labrum, they wanted out there instead of McCarthy. Like, that's pretty damning. And if you don't think that's bad enough, let's take a look at QBR. So QBR is a stat that ESPN uses. It's not the same as passer rating. It's out of 100. This is the top QBRs in the league. So you have Dak at number 1 at 75.3. And then at number 31, you have Geno Smith at 30.8. You'll notice there is no 32. Now, unfortunately, McCarthy is no longer on the list because he did not play enough games to be on the list anymore. But for some context, the passer rating of a quarterback who spikes the ball on every single play is 39.6. What do you guys think J.J. McCarthy's quarterback QBR is this season?
I know it's lower because I've seen the memes.
I think is it 18?
It's 24.1. That's right. J.J. McCarthy's QBR is 24.1. And again, if you spike the ball on every single play, it's 39.6. He is that bad. Well, maybe he's not that bad, Alex. Maybe you're just giving him a hard time being a hater all year. He is currently last in passer rating, not just QBR, but also passer rating, which is the other stat that tracks this. Last in completion percentage, and last in touchdown interception ratio. He is literally the worst quarterback in the league in every category amongst starting quarterbacks. The only thing that's funnier than that is I heard someone say that when Minnesota's offense couldn't possibly be worse, they took that as a challenge because
Brosmer
started this week in place of J.J. McCarthy, and threw, I think, 4 interceptions. His QBR was 32.8. So still higher than McCarthy's on the season, but still below that 39 number.
His QBR was 32.8 for the game that he just had.
Yeah.
Yes. The 2 weeks in a row, Vinny, below 39.6, which is if you just spike the ball every single play.
Yeah. Yeah, the week before with JJ McCarthy, JJ McCarthy was 34.2, so he had a good week for him, and then Brosmer was 32.8 back-to-back weeks.
I will share this with the listeners, but not Vinny and Alex, so earmuffs really wet. But like
Earmuffs.
that, when Darnold, a lot of times, like if you look at me last year with the Darnold situation, changing teams, I had a lot of fantasy value from the Vikings. Like JJ's obvious, but there was other fantasy. This year with Daniel Jones switching, I got the fantasy value of John to whoever they switch to next year. There's going to be all sorts of fantasy value because it can only go massively up. Like it's not even close. Like you don't even need a Darnold. Just switch it out with a Jacoby Brissett or someone like that. And all these Vikings players are going to be under drafted next year's fantasy draft, and they're going to all outperform their draft position because you literally, I know literally is not used correctly a lot of time, but you literally can't do worse if you just spike the ball every play. Think about that for fantasy value next year when you're looking at a lot of these Vikings players and where their ADP is. All right, unearmuffs, Vinny, next.
So Mitch,
I just want to.
I'm in a dynasty league with Vinny.
Yeah.
And I am absolutely holding on to Mac Jones because when he's the starter for the Vikings next year,
oh my gosh,
it's gonna be tasty.
That's gonna be Darnold and Baker basically.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to throw out there that as a stat correction, Brosmer's QBR was 6.2.
Oh, sorry, I was doing passer rating. I think I was doing passer rating on my stat. Yeah.
So QBR and passer rating are different stats, and I believe we were confusing the viewers. So
QBR,
passer rating is out of 158.6, I think, not out of 100. So passer rating has a much higher rating you can go to. So the fact that they only got to the 30s is still miserable.
Yes. So I don't know what JJ McCarthy's 57.9 is his passer rating for the year. Look, his QBR is sitting at 24.1.
But Alex, he's only played.
So
in 6 games.
That's still. Yeah, it's crazy.
He's only played in 6 games. Let's not judge him too early. I'm going to give you someone else's 6-game stats versus JJ McCarthy, and you guys tell me what you think. So, JJ McCarthy's thrown for 929 yards. This other person's thrown for 1,051. JJ McCarthy's thrown 6 TDs. This other person only threw 5. JJ McCarthy has thrown 10 picks. This other person only threw 3, so there's a big gap there. JJ McCarthy's completion percentage, 54.1%. This other person, 54.5%. So pretty close on all these except the picks. Sacks, this other person took 16. McCarthy's taken 20. So again, ballpark. Big difference here in passer rating, though. This other person had a 76.9. JJ McCarthy had a 57.9. So maybe he'll turn it around. You know this other person that I'm describing is? Jamarcus Russell.
Dylan Gabriel.
Jamarcus Russell of the Oakland Raiders. Yeesh. That's how bad McCarthy's been. McCarthy's first 6 games are worse in every single stat except TDs. He's ahead by 1 than Jamarcus Russell's.
They used to send Jamarcus Russell blank tapes, and he would say he watched it's supposed to be film on the next team, and the offensive coordinator would be like, here's a bunch of film on the next team, please watch this and let me know next. And then he'd come into the meeting the next day and be like, oh, I really like the part about this and this, but they were completely blank tapes. So maybe JJ McCarthy's not studying either.
Or maybe he shouldn't study because him studying is worse than Jamarcus without studying.
Without studying.
I mean, I will say this as well. Anthony Richardson's career passer rating is 67.8. In his rookie year, 87.3, 61.6 last year. And the guy was a freak athlete who notoriously could not throw the ball. So,
and I also want to point out that Anthony Richardson no longer has a job.
Right, exactly. Like, even he, as bad as he was, and his career QBR is at 47, which is double the QBR of JJ McCarthy. So, listen, we've been trying to pound the table for Anthony Richardson because of how young he was, and I mean, you can just ask Matt Black what he thought about Anthony Richardson going into last year, right?
Oh,
all
gosh.
upside. JJ McCarthy is bad. Like, if you're a worse quarterback than Anthony Richardson, you're really bad.
I mean, it's just like there's just nothing positive to say because like he's got the weapons. Like he may have one of the best receiving cores in football. And
I think it actually might be the best.
Yeah, like that's tough. All right, moving on. We got a lot.
I mean, what was Carson Wentz's stats for the year? I mean, what are we looking at from like his passer rating this season? Do we have an idea? Let's look. I mean, 85.8 passer rating with a 43 QBR. So Carson Wentz, one of the most washed quarterbacks in the league, comes into the same exact situation and is better than JJ McCarthy. I mean, it's just sad. Like, this is a guy who's literally been out of football for like 5 years, basically.
More yards, half the picks, same number of TDs.
Do
way
front
better
office
completion
people,
percentage.
I think front office people need to lose their jobs. Like, how do you let Darnold go for this? Like, how it's like I know the head coaches don't have final say in all personnel, but like if you're McConnell, the QB whisperer, the next guy, blah blah blah, and you see this in practice, you should go up to the manager and be like, we can't let Darnold go. Like, there's a failure somewhere. There's a failure somewhere.
I mean, not only that. Like, let me go back to JJ McCarthy real fast. Let's keep in mind this was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Like, the front office chose this guy super highly. They put a lot into this pick. It wasn't like this was a late round QB.
So I want to know how much the front office squeezed Darnold out, even though I want to know if behind closed doors Kevin O'Connell was like, please don't make me start McCarthy. I wonder if that was actually ever a reality. I'm so off on this situation that I was genuinely considering a world where JJ McCarthy is better because he's the younger top pick in a draft. Kevin O'Connell would never move on to a different guy. I'm trusting Kevin O'Connell here that he's seen years of practice of McCarthy. Blah blah blah. No, none of it happened. He's terrible. Like, I can't believe I thought, oh my gosh, McCarthy might put up better fantasy numbers than Darnold last year, and anyone who has Vikings players is going to win fantasy Super Bowls. I was dead wrong.
All right, well, we talked about Darnold, so we'll transition a little from Darnold to his receiver, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba. So this is a stat from before this past week, so from the through week 12. The most receiving yards through 11 games ever. Where do you guys think he falls on the list for most receiving yards through 11 games?
Oh, that's a good through 11. That's a good question. I knew what he was on pace for, so I'm guessing.
So I guess
first
to help you guys with this, I should show you. Well, no, I can't show you his actual stats, but here we go. Where do we go to? Score.
While you're looking for it, like people are talking about Jonathan Taylor should be getting some MVP votes and will win Offensive Player of the Year or whatever, kind of like Barkley did last year, get some votes and win in, for MVP, but then win Offensive Player of the Year. That's got to be JSN this year. He needs a couple MVP votes, and then he needs to win Offensive Player of the Year.
I do want to say he finally had a bad game. He had 2 catches for 23 yards against Minnesota, but that was because two things. They
didn't need him.
One, they didn't need him. They were blowing him out. And 2, Sam Darnold got hurt and left the game early. And so Darnold's the one feeding him. So, but this game is not counted in this list. So we're going before this week. So don't factor this in. Don't factor in that he finally had a bad game. Is what I'm saying. So what do you think?
Sure, but you could probably even factor it in, and he's still top 5 all time.
Right, but I'm talking about just through 11 because we talked about how he was on pace for a 2,000-yard season before this past week. So where do you think he was for most receiving yards through 11 games ever in NFL history?
I think when I saw the stat or whatever, I think he was like 20-something yards behind Megatron on pace or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to go third. I'd say Cup and Megatron, I think maybe were a little higher.
He was third. He actually was ahead of both those guys. Megatron was 5 with 1,257 yards in 2012. I guess, he'd be 6. Sorry, Megatron was 6.
Oh.
JSN was 3 with 1,313.
Julio
was 4 with 1,305.
Oh, let me guess. What's his name from Cleveland who smoked a lot of weed?
You got it. Number 1, Josh Gordon with 1,400.
Yes, oh, that makes me happy.
Josh Gordon with 1,400 was number 1.
Who, by the way, was Vinny's wide receiver that year again.
So you're still missing 2 and 5.
Antonio Brown, the other Vinny wide receiver.
Nope.
Oh, dang. I thought I was on a heater.
2 is still active player in the NFL.
Oh, really?
Yep. 5 is not.
OBJ is 5?
Nope.
Oh.
No, it's got to be somebody who just had an absolutely prolific
start.
5 you're playing out.
5. Tyreek Hill, number 2, 1,324 yards. And then number 5, I'll give you a hint, he was a Ram.
Was a Ram?
Yeah, well, he's
Torrey
retired.
Holt? Isaac
Torrey
Bruce?
Holt, 1,285 yards. Yeah, so anyway, long story short, JSN currently third for most receiving yards all time through 11 games, trailing only Tyreek Hill, who had that monster year by 11 yards, and then Josh Gordon by 87, because that man was on an unreal pace.
He got drafted in like the second round of every fantasy league for the next 4 years because everyone's like, he could potentially do that again, and he just never did. He's one of my favorite fantasy players.
I bet Mitch is like all-time rosters. Aaron Rodgers, Josh Gordon, Ricky Williams, OBJ.
You got to have LT in there, but yeah, OBJ, Ricky Williams.
Laramie Tunsil is blocking for him with the bong mask from the draft.
Yo, by the way, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer with his career. He's I can't believe we're gonna look back on that and be like, how did this first ballot Hall of Famer fall for bong mask after the way the weed legalization's gone? That's crazy. He's also interesting.
Time for a little more quarterback talk, gentlemen. Heard you both mention Bryce Young a couple of times. This is Bryce Young's career stats against the Falcons: 226 yards a game, 10 TDs, 2 picks, a 4-1 record. His stats against every other team: 8-26 record, only 183 passing yards a game, 38 TDs and 26 picks. So, and for the record, the Falcons have one of, if not the best secondary in football. So why can Bryce Young play quarterback against the Falcons and not against anybody else? What is going on?
I mean,
no idea.
I would say in Bryce Young's defense, he's playing quarterback at a pretty high level right now.
No, the Panthers have been good, but like look at the stats. So he threw for 300 yards in week 2 against Arizona. He did not break 300 yards again until he played the Falcons when he threw for 448.
Oh, shoot.
Sorry, did I say 300? I meant was he didn't break 200 until he played the Falcons. Look at these stats, guys. Besides week 2, he did not break 200 yards again until week 11 when he dropped 448 in the Falcons, and then he finally broke 200 this week at the Rams, barely. Like, this is a guy who averages well under 200 yards a game, but when he played the Falcons, he just became a monster.
How about the fact he threw for 120 against them the first game, and he's still averaging almost 300 yards a game against them this year?
I guess my only answer to this is Jeff Ulbrich needs to not scheme or call plays when they play the Panthers, because they do pretty well some other weeks, and then they just, I guess, flop. Also, I had Bryce Young as you had bold prediction. I had Bryce Young as a 12 starting quarterback in fantasy. So if you're in a 12-man league, he'd be top 12 or whatever. He's currently at 17. Ooh, so not going well.
Yeah, you and I were both kind of off on that. I wanted to, full disclosure, I wanted to listen to that episode of our podcast. I actually downloaded it the other day to have us review our bold predictions.
That sounds like a producer job.
Yeah, I mean, but we know our producer's not going to do it, so I'm going to do it. So we can review our bold predictions
a little busy.
and see what we can do. Our producer who had like a month off work and still did nothing for the pod. Yeah, that guy.
And Vinny's defense, if we ever
I even made less visits during that time frame.
The PTO Prince. Oh, yeah.
The Vinny's defense, if we ever do become successful, the shows have like 14 producers, so don't worry, Vinny.
If we ever do become successful, we'll have to hire a real producer that actually produces something.
Vinny can still be producer.
I got labeled producer because at the end of the day, we had talked about doing this forever, and I finally just like created the group text. I was like, we're doing this. Let's get this set up.
You made a group text and a Zoom link, and honestly, you're no longer the Zoom link. Speaking of, we're brought to you by the Golshani Lee Law Firm. Yeah. They're the best in the business. If you need help with business law or accident injuries, they are the guys for you. They're great dudes, and they do great work.
Yep. You should see how much money they pay us, too. It's like incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't think we're allowed to say that.
dripping in cash. We're dripping in cash from Golshani Lee LLC.
No, don't say that. I'm pretty sure Chris asked us to not say that.
Yeah, he actually did. He literally sent out an email. We don't get a dang thing. The fact that we get advertising for using a link. We get a Zoom link is all we have access to.
You're the worst producer ever. I'm trying to hype up our sponsor and friend, and you're throwing him under the bus. Will you just somebody mute him? If we had a real producer, they would mute Vinny right now. My
Tony
goodness.
Reality needs to be our producer. We wonder why Chris wants no part of it because every time we talk about him, we just illegally incriminate him.
What do you mean we? I'm trying to hype him up, and then Vinny comes in here, and Vinny goes all Sauce Gardner on him. Yeah, that's right. Transition
How much
here.
money do they pay you to say that, Alex?
The Colts,
wow.
the Colts, since going in on Sauce Gardner, they have absolutely fallen apart. Danny Dimes is currently playing with a broken hand. Sauce is now out, going to miss multiple weeks. They're no longer winning their division. They're currently in the wild card spot, and they have some teams in the AFC chomping at the bit to overtake that spot. So, have the Colts completely gone off the rails? Because, I mean, they mortgaged their future. Like, Jonathan Taylor hasn't been as good. Like, what happened to the Colts, guys? Like, they're in every game, and they just don't win.
I think it's Daniel Jones effect. I think he's actually the Steelers game that they lost. That was atrocious. And then you go a week later to the Chiefs game where you have the Chiefs. I think it was 4th and 22 or something like that, and they got completed that past the Rice. Like, if the Chiefs make the playoffs, teams are going to go back to that week and be like, Colts, you could have not only solidified yourself, but you could have knocked out the Chiefs, basically. Like, yeah, these are two really bad losses. I'll just chalk it up to, like, no, the NFL is so hard to win, blah, blah, blah. You know, the cliche and game of inches. And they're going to lose a couple. Like, I think they're still fine though, and it's just like it's a long season. You have the ups and downs. You have a little bit of an injury thing right now with some of their players. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I'm hoping they're fine, regardless of Jonathan Taylor's performance or whatever. It'd be fun to watch them in the playoffs. So
It is interesting though if you look at their schedule. What was the score? 29-28, so they beat the Broncos by 1. They somehow pull off a win against the Chargers, right? If you look at all their other wins, 8 wins, they have wins against the Dolphins, the Titans, the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Titans again, and the Falcons. So that's 6 of their 8 wins. Then they have a 1-point win against the Broncos, and then a 14-point win against the Chargers that I think in the moment, like, we're all like, dang, this team has arrived. But then when they play real teams, they lose. They lost to the Rams. They've lost to the Steelers. They've lost to the Chiefs. They've lost to the Texans. They have the Jags, Seahawks, Niners, Jags, Texans to close out the season. I'm worried that
Yeah, I
they
mean,
just
the
aren't.
the Texans are only a game back, right? Like they're a game back of being able to move up here, right? Like,
And they started Davis Mills for 4 games.
and the Kansas City Chiefs, let's not forget that they're there too, right? Like, they're still the Chiefs. There's always a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
as bad as the Chiefs are,
I
you
think
could fully see them going 5-0 to close out the season.
I think you just said they play in that schedule. They can lose 3 of those games as long as they beat the Jags twice, right?
No, because they play.
Did you not just say they play the Jags twice in the next 3 weeks, right? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, but they also play the Texans, who are a game behind them.
Yeah, but you're basically knocking them out. And then if you look at the wild card picture, you have 3 wild cards this year. You have 2 games on the Chiefs. You can lose 3 as long as you beat the Jags twice. The Chiefs are basically going to have to win out. And then the wild cards are going. One is the Bills for sure, or the Patriots, depending on who loses that one. And then the other one's the Chargers or the Broncos, right? Whoever's on that one. So there's one wild card spot open. Who do they have to beat out? There's not really much. The Texans. That's it, right?
Right, and then the Texans play them, and so the Texans actually can win the division still, because the Texans.
They don't play the Texans, do they?
I thought
they do. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, they have
sorry.
the end of the year, last game of the season.
The Texans play the Colts, and if they win that game, they will have a better. Assuming they win their other game, like, we're assuming everybody's winning out in the scenario, but like, if they win that game,
right, but their only competition for the last wild card spot is the Chiefs.
And the Steelers. And the
Ravens.
Ravens.
It's going to be the Texans are out of it, right? So, and the Jaguars. But if you beat the Jaguars twice, that puts them out of the division. That puts them all the way up to the 3 spot, I thought. Well, we could talk about that. Maybe I'm confused or not or whatever. But if you play the Jaguars twice and beat them both,
I mean, there's still a lot that can happen because they have 5 games left. But yes, there is a very real scenario where they can miss the playoffs. Where 2 weeks ago we were talking about how there's a very real scenario they could be the number 1 seed. or 3 weeks ago, right? Like so, like that's
Yeah.
I just think that's a big fall from grace. Like,
Definitely,
and I mean,
definitely.
even if they end up where they are now, which is like as a wild card, it's like, well, you went from hosting potentially multiple home playoff games to not having any.
Yeah, I would just like to take a bigger step back. And if you go back before that to like the beginning of the season when everyone's 0-0 and you told the Colts organization that you guys are a wild card in the AFC, they'd be like, yes, please. You know what I mean? So it's
Well, yeah,
interesting.
I mean, yeah, yes, but like that's not how reality works, right? Like you reevaluate as you go. Like the Colts made a decision to announce we want to re-sign Danny Dimes and to go
Yeah,
trade 2 first-round draft picks for Sauce. Once they made that trade and traded
yeah,
2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, they were all in on this year. They went
yeah,
all
for
in on
sure.
winning this year, and right now they are losing games. Their quarterback has a broken hand, but playing through it, and
Gardner's
Sauce
hurt.
Gardner's out.
Yeah. So my question now to you guys is, let's say the playoffs ended today and they were playing the first round. Only one team gets a bye, right? So they're going to play either the Jaguars, Broncos in the first round. Can they do? What do you think? Do they think like you can't beat the Jaguars or the Broncos? You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, I mean,
So
we'll find out, right? Because they're gonna play them.
yeah,
They'll play the Jaguars twice, but yeah, like, what in that scenario when they play those? What if they lose both games against the Jaguars, and have to play the Jaguars in week first game of the wild card? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that would look bad for sure. I'll give you that. But like, it's looking like, unless the Chargers pass the Broncos or something like that, you're playing the Broncos or Jaguars in your first game, and I would love to see Vegas's line on that, right? You know what I mean? But I
well,
can't. You can't know that now. So yeah.
speaking of the Chargers, like, I wouldn't shoe them in just yet either, because speaking of quarterbacks with hand injuries, Justin Herbert had surgery this week. He had surgery on Monday, and his game is on Thursday, and he wants to play, and like that's great, but like, do you guys think it's realistic that Herbert's going to be able to play on Thursday after having surgery on Monday?
Yeah, they got the best backup in the NFL. They'll be fine.
Trey Lance? Did you know
Oh,
who their backup was when you said that? Were you
yeah,
trolling? Okay.
I'm making a joke
Okay.
because I think I was the big Trey Lance guy.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was like 4 years ago before they gave Purdy the contract. Anyways, whatever.
Yeah.
That's why I was making a joke. Um,
Uh,
no, Chargers honestly come down to that offensive line and their health. Herbert,
Well, that's
I
what I'm
don't
saying.
know
If
he's
Herbert
that
has to
special.
miss time, because like I don't know. I don't look. I'm not a doctor, but I just normally when you hear the word surgery on a Monday, I don't think play quarterback in the NFL on a Thursday.
Okay, let me
That's
ask you a
just me.
question then. Pose it this way: do you think Bo Nix is carrying the Broncos to their record?
No, I think the defense is
So if they
carrying
had a
them.
backup QB for a little bit, could you win a little bit on the Broncos?
yes.
It
That's what I'm
depending
thinking
on
is
who the
happening.
backup is. Yes, I mean we've obviously seen Chase Browning. No, but
That's what I'm thinking is happening with the Chargers this year is for a couple weeks, if he has a serious hand injury, I think that Chargers team can stay in the mix for a couple weeks with that roster. That's all I'm trying to say.
okay, fair enough, fair enough. But do you guys think he'll play on Thursday?
Oh, I'm not a doctor. I have no idea. I didn't
I
think.
don't.
I'll be
I don't
honest with
know.
you, Alex. I would have lost money thinking Joe Burrow was going to play on Thanksgiving.
That's
So
true.
there's that. So I have no idea.
Well, okay. That Mitch, the king of helping me transition today. I appreciate that. Uh,
And I'm not even trying. That's the best
oh
part.
no, if
Look,
you
he
would
helped. He
actively
helped
try
when
to
he
hurt
doesn't
me if
know
you
the
could.
game.
Yeah, you'd actually try to hurt me. You could. But
When I'm
yeah.
trying to go against you, it's fun for me. What's
Well,
up?
here's why Joe Burrow came back. Lamar Jackson's fantasy points in his last 3 games, and
Oh,
you know
don't
this because
remind me.
you're
757.
yeah, it's not good. So using Yahoo's scoring, it's 7.54, 7.22, and 6.72.
Something's on your screen
For
you
lack of a
can't
better
see.
word, Lamar has been bad, real
Yeah, there you go.
bad. So bad, in fact, that the Baltimore Ravens, now 6-6, are tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers, also now 6-6, also going in the wrong direction, also have an injured quarterback. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's been beat to a bloody pulp, to be honest. And who's that lurking just 2 games behind? The Cincinnati Bengals. And who do they play on their remaining schedule? Well, let's take a look here. Cincinnati Bengals have games against the Ravens. So that's 1 game right there. They also played Dolphins, Cardinals, Browns. Those are all very winnable. So as long as they beat the Bills, there's a real chance that the Bengals win out, because they just played the Ravens this past weekend and bludgeoned them 32-14, right? So like that,
Yeah.
they should win that game. They should beat the Dolphins. They should beat the Cardinals. They should beat the Browns. So as long as, and look, that's no easy task, but if the Bengals beat the Bills this week, there's a very real chance they run out and they sit at 9-8. And if they're sitting at 9-8, that means that either the Steelers or the Ravens have to win 4 of their next 5.
Yeah. So
which I don't see happening for either of those two teams based on the way they're playing. There's a very real chance that Joe Burrow is going to come back in and lead this Bengals team to what's effectively him being an 8-0 record this season in the 8 games he's played, and take him to the playoffs. They literally went 1-8 without him. They're 3-0 with him.
I'll take this. I all the mini podcasts I listen to or whatever. It was the two Patriots guys, Edelman and Gronk, and I think they said it best. It's like the reason why the Rams lost this weekend is because it's just so hard in the NFL to win 5 games in a row, and especially when you're going on the road for some of these games, no matter what the teams are, unless the teams are tanking. I think that was like a shot at some of the teams that they played against in their division during those times. Cough, cough, Miami and the Jets. But yeah, I think I think it's just insanely hard to assume that they just beat the Ravens and then the Bengals are going to win 5 in a row in the NFL is just I don't even want to contemplate that. But I think yeah. As bad as Lamar's playing,
I'm not necessarily saying it's likely. I'm just saying like
Yeah.
when you look at that schedule, like every one of those games is very, very winnable,
For
with the
sure.
exception of the Bills game, right?
yeah.
At the Bills is the like they get to play the Ravens at home after just destroying the Ravens on the road. I
Yeah.
don't know the exact locations, but like Miami is not a difficult game. They have a really bad defense. They have a bad offense. Cleveland has a great defense, but a horrendous offense. The one thing the Bengals can't do is play defense. They might be able to against the Browns.
Yeah,
so
I was just
like,
gonna say the Bengals aren't a good defense when healthy, and they're missing like 3 of their best defensive players. So that's the whole more the reason why I like raged
and yet
panic
Lamar
over
Jackson
Lamar.
could only
Yeah,
put up 12 points.
exactly. And okay, I was gonna say this till we went around the league or anything like that, and we can address it then if you want. But I want on record, you guys, if you guys had to win, this is asking for a friend, not me, no big deal.
Totally.
But if you had to win to get into the playoffs, and you had hypothetically Lamar Jackson and Matthew Stafford as your 2 QBs, who are you starting?
Oh, I think it's Stafford. It's not close. Like, how do you bench Stafford with the run he's on? Like, even with last week where he had 3 turnovers, or only 2 were him. Even last week where he had 2 turnovers, like, how do you not start that guy with the season he's having?
Vinny?
But I've been a Stafford believer since day one. Is Vinny here?
Vinny's muted. No worries. I'll ask him later. But you know how
No,
Alex,
sorry,
when we go to-
I had to deal with some drama that's been ongoing with vehicles, but we're good.
you're
It was
fine.
more of just a panic reaction. I missed the question. Go for it.
Well, just real quick, Alex, if you go to like draft results, remember how it tells you like their total fantasy points, then it gives you an active fantasy points, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and if I understand that correctly, active points is what they've been played and actually scored, not like what they've scored when they haven't played on a starting team, right?
Okay.
Yes, in your
Okay.
lineup.
Well, think about this. Stafford's the number 1 fantasy QB and he has 0 active points because he's been on the bench.
Yeah,
the
that's because
whole
you're a fool and not starting him. He's the number
Okay,
3
Vinny.
fantasy QB.
Oh, he is 3. Forgot he dropped the 3 this week. I apologize. Allen and Mahomes did pass him by a couple, but up until this week, he was number 1 and he has 0 active fantasy points.
Yeah, let me see if I can find
Um,
Lamar. Hold on, let me scroll a
No,
little
no,
bit.
no, no,
Lamar
no.
has-
You don't need to find
He
it.
has
It's fine.
177 active
Let me
fantasy
scroll a
points.
little
Oh,
bit.
you passed him. You passed him.
Okay.
You passed him.
Sorry, I just got in the scrolling
Down at
habit.
the bottom.
Or Vinny, for a friend, if you had to win this week to get in the playoffs and you hypothetically had Stafford or Lamar Jackson as your QB, who would you start?
Oh God.
Why is this a question? What? Do you not see where he is on the list?
Okay, let me propose, and someone else is.
I just don't know how you do it though.
It's
Here's
real
the thing,
cool.
is like
It's real simple. Here, I'll show you. I'll go to my team and give you an example. So if you go to your roster, if you go to your roster here, all you have to do
Just click his name,
you
click
click his
Stafford, click set
So
lineup.
let's say I wanted to bench this injured Josh Jacobs and start the
Stafford.
IR Amari Hampton. You just click, boom, done. Then you're done. You can even click
Okay.
that lineup and you're
And,
good.
and Lamar Jackson has not hired a lawyer for this, but I'll be his part-time attorney for a second. There's only three seasons in the last 6 years where someone's gone over 475 fantasy points, and Lamar's two times out of the three, and he's won two MVPs in the last 4 years in the NFL.
That's cool. In the last 2 seasons, Patrick Mahomes has been a trash can fire. Would you bench Patrick Mahomes because he's having a good year this year, even though last year he was bad? No. Drake May wasn't good last year. He's number 4 this year. Would you bench him? Dak Prescott didn't play last year because he was hurt. Would you bench him? No.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't, right? So why are you benching the guy who's the number 3 fantasy QB who just set the record for most touchdowns in a row without an interception? Who even in his worst game of the season still put up 243 yards and 2 touches.
No, but you're saying though, but you're also having to make the thing that if your season was on the line, you're benching the guy who's arguably been the top fantasy quarterback for the last 5 or 6 years. Yes, because
he hasn't been that this year. He hasn't been that since week 3. Since week 3, he's had 11, 33, 18, 4, 7, 5. He has had one good fantasy game.
Oh my God.
He has had one game of 20-plus points since week 3. All right, let me check Matthew Stafford and see how he's done since week 3.
Every week except for 2.
Well, let's find out. Hold on. Maybe you're right. So since week 3, 33, 31, 11, that's bad. 37, 35, 35, 17, 28, 15. He's had 3 games sub 20, none sub 10, I might add. 3 games sub 20 since week 3. Lamar has had all but 1 sub 20 since week 3, including 3 of them sub 10. I just don't see how, with the way they're playing football right now, you bench Matthew Stafford.
Also, we cursed my wide receiver. We can move on at this, but we cursed my wide receivers ever since we made that bet. Waddle, Higgins, and Zay have all done terribly bad.
Well, you can't really blame Higgins. He got hurt and had to miss a game. So he got hurt in one game, missed a game. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's true. All right, let's move on.
All right. Hey, I just want to add that while we're talking about players, that at the very beginning of the year, all Mitch talked about is, could you imagine getting to week 14 and needing Christian McCaffrey to do good to make the playoffs? Well, I guess we'll never know. Mitch.
Still on that, huh? So I'll have you guys answer the question that I originally asked. Who wins the AFC North? He should have been injured
8 weeks ago. Oh, AFC North?
Yeah, so the Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, who wins?
I'm going to say Steelers. I looked at their schedule. I think the Steelers have the inside track.
I will Ravens.
All right, I'm gonna take the Bungles. We'll take three different teams. I don't super believe in that, but just it's fun to make it all different.
I do agree though. If the Bengals can get past the Bills, if they lose to the Bills, I think in essence their season is over, because that would mean that they need both the Ravens and the Steelers to not get to 8 wins.
DraftKings has one team at minus 240. And the other team at plus 285. You want to guess the 2 teams?
Minus 240 is the Steelers.
Alex?
Sorry, say that again.
So out of the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns, one team is minus 240 and one team is plus 285. Those are the top 2 for the odds for DraftKings. Which one do you think is minus 240 and which one do you think is plus 285?
My guess is Ravens are 240 and Bengals are 285.
Ooh, you guys are both close. Ravens is minus 240, but then the Steelers are plus 285. The Bengals are plus 850, and the Browns are plus 50K.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense because of the current records. I just think based on the caliber of play they have in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you brought up Matt.
Also, I think it's
okay.
Yeah, sorry. No, I was just saying. Also, I don't think it's necessarily an indication of who actually has the best chance. As Vinny was saying, Vinny might be right. The Steelers. It's also like where I guess the bets are coming in on, so it's not necessarily accurate. But go on.
Yep, you brought up Matt Stafford, so let's give you some Stafford stats here. Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff have now officially played the same number of games as a Ram. These are the stats. Stafford is 43-26. Goff is 42-27. Basically identical. Passing yards, Stafford 17,770. Goff 18,170. Basically the same. Passing TDs, Stafford 127, Goff 107. So he did have more TDs. Interceptions, Stafford 48, Goff 55. Similar. Completion percentage, Stafford 65.8%, Goff 63.4. Very close. And then passer rating, Stafford 97.9, Goff 91.5. These guys are total games. They've both played a total of 69 games with the Rams.
Like that was their career?
Career with the Rams.
Gotcha.
Only with the Rams.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
So basically, in their careers as an LA Ram,
Yeah.
they're almost identical. Like Stafford
Goff
has a little more yards, or excuse me, Goff has a little more yards. Stafford has a little more TDs. Completion percentage, interceptions, record, rating are all within a few points of one another. Like it's crazy to me how identical these guys were as a Ram. Yet Stafford won a Super Bowl with them and is cruising right now. Goff is doing great as a Lion, which Stafford really never did. Not that he didn't play great, but the Lions were never great. And they're
I think Goff is just limited to one game. One game defines his whole career, and that's the problem. It's the 13-3 Super Bowl that we had to watch where the Rams put up 3 points on the Patriots after dominating the whole year. And Goff had ridiculous stat line. I don't think he's ever going to. That's what got him out of LA. But
yeah,
that's
he had that terrible game, and then his next
one
season I think
game.
was his worst, like slightly worse than the previous ones, and that just left a bad taste in everyone's mouth.
Yep. Otherwise, he's been great. Yeah, that's a good stat, Alex.
All right, let's see what else. One more QB thing. I know we're being very QB centric, but I hope people are enjoying the conversation. We'll stay in the AFC North, and we're going to talk about the Browns. So let's talk about quarterbacks taken in the 5th round or later over the past decade. So this is, recency bias. Obviously, when you go back further, you get, obviously the big one's Tom Brady, but like that's going back years and years and years. So we're just talking the last decade. These are rookie QBs who got to start when they were taken in the 5th round or later. So you had to be taken in the 5th round or later and start as a rookie. So we'll start with Nathan Peterman. How'd that work out?
He started?
Yep, as a rookie.
Oh, wow.
Terrible.
Some of these are going to be started games, not necessarily this team starter. So just for clarity, but yeah. So Nathan Peterman, obviously terrible. Gardner Minshew, he was okay. Had some Minshew magic, right? He's all right. Ben DiNucci, don't even know who that is.
Oh, that was terrible. Yeah.
Jake Luton.
Don't even know. Yeah.
All right. Finally, we get to the one good one on the list. Brock Purdy. Yep.
Yeah.
Skylar Thompson. He was
Oh,
awful.
So bad.
Sam Howell. He had one good year. Jaron Hall. Don't know who that is. This
Are
one.
we going to Dan Orlovsky? Are we going to do that guy from ESPN?
No, that was too long ago.
sorry.
DTR. Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
Clayton Tune.
Yeah.
The Rattler already lost his job. And then finally this year, Shedeur Sanders. So what I'm getting at is not a good list, right? Over the last decade, I would say Purdy was good. Minshew and Howell had a good year. And everyone else was just bad, right? You'd all agree with that, I think?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason I bring this up is what is going on with the Browns quarterback decisions? Because, first they go into the draft, they take Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd, and then take Shedeur in the 6th. So already it's weird. You drafted 2 quarterbacks. In camp, you very quickly made it clear that Gabriel is the QB2. He is the guy. He is the heir apparent. When it was time to move on to Flacco, they moved on to Gabriel. And then Gabriel never got benched until he got hurt. And then once he got hurt, that's when Shedeur came in. And then it was announced that Shedeur is going to start because, he was in concussion protocol. Makes total sense. So Shedeur gets to start. And he actually wins. Now they're playing the Raiders. That's not really a quality win, but whatever. They win. But this is where it gets weird. Then the next week, they announced that Shedeur is going to be the starter. I kind of assumed it was because Gabriel was still in concussion protocol because you drafted him. You believed in him as your starter. You had him over, Shedeur in all of camp, all of practice, all of everything. When Shedeur got hurt in the game this week, Dylan Gabriel went in the game, which means that Gabriel is good enough, healthy enough to play, and they're choosing to start Shedeur over him. So, does that mean the Browns, all this time, drafted him with higher capital, thought he was better in practice, thought he was better in training camp, wanted him to start, and then after 3 starts, they're like, now we're going to move to Shedeur? What do you guys think is going on?
Sure. I think that at this point they're just trying to figure out what they have in their QB room. I don't think it's one versus the other. It's just an extended preseason look. They know they're not competing. They might as well see how each one does with the ones. What is interesting though is Shedeur Sander has a QBR of 7.
No, I mean they're
Um,
both look they're both terrible, and I'm not saying Gabriel's good and deserve to keep that job, but just normally when you have a rookie quarterback, you give him a little leeway, and I just think it's kind of wild to me that they gave pretty much no leeway to Dylan Gabriel.
Um, in 2020, Andrew Berry became the executive vice president and of operations and the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, both titles. His first thing he did was he brought in Kevin Stefanski. Okay. Since then, they've had Deshaun Watson, didn't go well, terrible contract. Jacoby Brissett in 2022, Dorian Thompson Robinson, PJ Walker, Bailey Zappi, Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Huntley, Kenny Pickett, Shador Sanders. So this is a colossal failure of GM and a head coach. Where again, like we always say, I don't know how much Tomlin or has a say on picking Deontay Johnson and Kenny Pickett and all these terrible wide receivers over the last 4 years when he inherited such. So like we don't know if that's the GM coach. I don't know what it is, but this in Cleveland, just get rid of both of them. Stefanski, if it's him, get rid of him. If it's Andrew Berry, the GM, get rid of him. You guys cannot build an offensive team, and you're supposed to be both offensive minded managers or whatever. So if this is what you brought in under QB play, especially the Deshaun Watson, I know he had a career ending, the career crazy injury, but still, maybe bringing in Deshaun Watson wasn't a great idea, knowing all that stuff that was going on with him in Houston. So I think this is just a terribly inept organization, front office that lucked in the Shador Sanders, being honest.
Yeah, I don't. But that's what I'm saying. I don't understand what you mean by luck. I don't understand the decision making of abandoning Dylan Gabriel. So Dylan Gabriel played in 5 games and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
The
Well,
game he
they
got
should have
hurt.
never drafted him.
The game he got hurt, he was 7 for 10 for 88 yards before he got hurt with no picks. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, the game he got hurt, he was playing well. He had a 70% completion percentage in that game. He was averaging over 10 yards per completion. Here's my thing. Dylan Gabriel has a better QBR, better completion percentage, better TD interception ratio than Shador Sanders. So it's not like Shador came in and blew the doors off anybody. So it's really weird to me that, like, this is that Raider game I was talking about, right?
Yeah.
He came in and played against the Raiders. He went 11 of 20 for 200 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, right? Like, that's not good. That's medium. That's fine. Whatever. Like, but that's not any better. And in fact, I'd say it's a little worse than what Gabriel would have done. So it's really weird to me that once Gabriel was healthy, they didn't put him back in there. Like, you thought he was better as a prospect when you drafted him because you drafted him higher. You thought he was better in training camp because you made him the number 2. You thought he's been better all season in practice because he stayed the number 2, and became the starter. And then as the starter, at no point did you bench him for Shador until he got hurt. And then once he was healthy, you left him on the bench instead of putting him back in when Shador is not playing any better than he did. I don't understand the logic, and I'm not saying they should have drafted Gabriel. I'm not saying that Gabriel's better than Shador long term. What I'm saying is the Browns have clearly shown with their decision making that they believe in Dylan Gabriel more than they believe in Shador Sanders. So why on God's green earth did they, once Gabriel was healthy, stick with Shador Sanders? I don't get it.
Well, again, Alex, I get what you're trying to say, but I don't even really want to answer it in the sense I'm just saying this is a colossal organized. Who is the Browns' first pick in 2023?
So you're saying there's no logic to it. The Browns are just idiots, is what you're saying?
Yeah, the front office. Who I'm telling you right now, who is the Browns' first pick in the 2023?
I mean, I couldn't tell you, but I'm sure it's not
Oh,
anyone.
they didn't. They lost that pick in the Watson trade to the Texans, who the Texans picked number 3 overall, Willie Anderson Jr., who might be one of the best defensive players in the year. Who did the Browns pick in 2024 in their first round, Alex?
I'm guessing it's a Watson pick.
It's another Houston pick that goes really well because they traded him all the way and they haven't picked in the first round in 3 years. So Andrew Berry comes in, hires Stefanski, trades away all your first round picks for 3 years in a row to bring in Watson in 2021, and you expect the Browns to be doing something logically? That's my point. Is like, I think someone in the head, what's his name, the owner is escaping my head right now, has a relationship with Deion Sanders, and Deion Sanders called him up and said, "Save my son the embarrassment." I think there's truly something behind that. I don't want to get into all that. I think they lucked into Shador Sanders. Otherwise,
but
Shador Sanders should be on some other team right now, and they're just playing Dylan Gabriel till the end of the season and losing hard.
But that's the thing. You keep saying lucked into him as if he's an upgrade over Gabriel. He's not. That's the part that I don't understand. If there was a conspiracy where the NFL's like, hey, we're not going to take Shador, we're going to let him fall, and like you said happened, and they called the Browns, and the Browns did him a solid. Well, then the Browns could have just made him the number 2.
That's true. Okay, let me refine my answer. It's more of like what you said with the 5th-round picks not doing well. I think he's better than all those guys you named or whatever, and he's only played a couple games, so he could obviously do worse as it goes on, and then I'll be wrong about this. But some of the film diagnosis that I watch of because he's broken down by every analyst because he's such a popular person, like he's gotten more praise as his first, and I know he's not done that well, but he's gotten more praise as like his being able to pick up the blitzes, call plays at the line of scrimmage than I've seen a lot of rookies get credited for. So I just meant like lucked into him as like in the sense that like you don't get an actual QB who could actually be a starter in the 5th round or later in the NFL. It's very rare. That's what your stat was, right? So that's what I meant by lucked into it. I'm not necessarily saying he's better, but you got lucky that you got a QB in the 5th round or later that's worth something. That's all I meant.
I mean, okay, that's fair. To me, it's really strange how, to me, it's hard for me to grasp, like, why they would play him over Dylan Gabriel. Vinny, do you have any thoughts on this?
Like I said, I think it's just them seeing what's in their room. I just did a quick Google search and found out that the Browns just designated Deshaun Watson to return. So now I'm even more confused. Like he has a 21-day window after like he's designated to return. So I don't know. And there's like reports that he might make it back this year. So I'm not really sure what the hell's going on.
Clear house. It's clear house. Figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, and the only stat that Sanders beats Gabriel in is average yards per game. It's 179 versus 170. So, I mean, Gabriel has just been a better quarterback, period.
For sure, and I'm not arguing that.
And again, it's a smaller sample size, but I don't know. I just don't understand how you can say in the draft Gabriel's better, in training camp Gabriel's better, during the season Gabriel's better, and then after seeing Shador Sanders for 1 week against the Raiders, saying, you know what? We think Shador's better now.
Because the owner who has it, or whatever his name is so terrible. He saw the sales of the home season tickets when Shador is playing versus when Dylan's playing, and says, "I don't care about how they put Shador in."
And I think you just finally found the right answer. That's the answer I was looking for. Shador Sanders sells seats, and that's the thing.
Again. Now you got to clean house again or get a new owner because there's something from top to bottom there very wrong.
No. I totally agree, but I think you finally found the right answer of why Dylan Gabriel is no longer starting. I think it's because Shador Sanders is at least going to put butts in seats, and they're not playing for the future. They're playing to put butts in seats.
Do you follow him at all? I'm not saying you do or not, but Vinny or Alex, do you follow him on social media or anything? Like they're actually
Who? Shador?
Yeah, Shador and the brother.
I don't follow anybody on social media.
Shiloh's very entertaining, and okay, so they're praying at Thanksgiving with the family, all holding hands, and Shiloh's like, "And dear Lord, please help my brother do better on the Browns, so he can pull some strings and get me a job there." I mean, dude, they're really well liked. Like I'm not even joking around. Like their social media is like a lot of charity work, a lot of fun games and stuff. They stream sometimes video games. Like they're actually like. Really it's hard not, especially Shiloh. Shiloh's really likable. I'm a California kid, didn't care about Colorado. I like watching college football and stuff like that, but like I'm kind of finding myself rooting for Shador, and I don't know how that's happened. And it might be the social media following and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, if all these people are doing the same, like I would see a Shador game. So yeah,
well, I wouldn't go to the game, but I'm rooting for anyone who's starting other than Caleb Williams, just because I don't know, I gotta have beef. No, that's not true. We want the NFL products to be good. Like as fans, like we want to watch good football. We want to see shootouts. Like yeah, we want our team to win. Like as a Raider fan, I would love for the Chiefs, Broncos, and Chargers to suck, but I want the rest of the league to be good. I want to see good football on my TV on Sundays and Thursdays and sometimes Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays and Mondays. Like pretty much every day. But yeah, like we want to see good play. So like it's not like, yes, it's funny for me to sit up here and talk about how bad JJ McCarthy is, but like I'm doing that because that's the reality of the situation. I don't want him to be bad. I would love to be wrong about that and have the Vikings offense be good and entertaining.
But on that concept, Alex, is like I've never really even seen Jamie McCarthy do an interview. Like every time Shador talks, it's like it's entertaining. It's something. It's like drama. It's I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just
it's kind of like
yeah.
why people like Jameis Winston so much because like his personality is so
Hell
fun.
yeah, hell yeah. His personality is so attractive.
All right. Well, we talked about how they try to put butts in
What?
seats. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Vin.
It's just choice of words. So.
Oh, or what's not attractive, but you know what I mean, like drawing, or what's the word, like endearing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about putting butts in seats.
Jameis wins the way Jameis wins.
This is
So
attractive. Hey, I'm confident in myself, and I'm okay with that statement.
So I don't know if you guys saw the Jets game recently, but there was like nobody there. But someone who, quite frankly, I don't understand, Adonai Mitchell. He is maybe the only player in NFL history to go to the Jets and get better. So since joining the Jets, he's had big targets in games, 6, 7, and now 12. And this past week, he caught 8 of those 12 targets for 102 yards and a touchdown. And this is the first game he's had Tyrod Taylor and not Justin Fields as quarterback. So the question is, how is this possible? Is this just a one-game fluke, or do you think with Tyrod there he's actually good? And I have some stats to back this up that maybe he will be good with Tyrod. We just talked about Shador. Well, who was the Jets quarterback before Tyrod Taylor, gentlemen?
Fields?
It was Justin Fields. Do you guys want to know the 5 worst passing performances so far this season?
Justin Fields.
So this is, in order to be on this list, this is net passing yards, so sacks count as negative. You have to have at least 10 passing attempts in a game. Number 5, Justin Fields at 42 passing yards. Number 4, Justin Fields at 25 passing yards. Number 3, Shador Sanders at 20 passing yards. Number 2, Justin Fields at 8 passing yards. And number 1, and this may be a record, Justin Fields at negative 10 passing yards. So the 5 fewest net passing yards in a game this season with a minimum of 10 passing attempts, 4 of them are Justin Fields.
Imagine drafting their number 1 wide receiver and putting a pie bet on it. That'd be crazy, right?
That would be crazy. Honestly, he may not have so many negatives if he hadn't gotten hurt. So anyway, but back to my real question then. Is there value in Adonai Mitchell? You'll see in our league he's still a free agent. No one picked him up, so obviously no one in our league thinks so. But, is there value here? Because, sure, this doesn't look great that he only caught 2 of 7 and only caught 1 of 6. But it is great that he's getting targeted that much. And these games were Justin Fields. This was with Tyrod Taylor.
I'll take this one. There's absolutely no. Garrett Wilson is, as much as I hate on him, is an actual wide receiver talent. Like an actual, he's good regardless. You take a player and you backyard football and you pick, he's actually that guy. He's him. So no, Jets can't provide or support 2 fantasy wide receivers. So when Wilson comes back, I think, was it this week or next week? I can't remember. I think that goes away. The more interesting part for our fantasy listeners out there is the offensive coordinator Ingstrand. He came from the Lions from 2022 to 2024. He came, at the end of last year or whatever. So he was with Ben Johnson for 3 years as assistant offensive coordinator. Well, that system favors one wide receiver, schemes to it, as you can see for St. Brown, and as you can see with the Bears this year. The wide receiver has changed different games, but it is schemed for one guy. And you can, even watching the games, it's very, very obvious. Some of the film or some of the podcasts that I watch break down film of all offenses. I know that breaking down Jets offense is wild to think about, but you watch that Ingstrand offense or whatever, he is scheming for one wide receiver. So earmuffs to Vinny and Alex again. If you are looking for a late round draft pick, the Jets wide receiver, whoever you think the one guy is next year with Ingstrand, will be fantasy relevant. Even if it's Garrett Wilson, I will change my opinion on it and be willing to draft Wilson higher next year. They feature a wide receiver, I promise you. No, so Adonai will be good until the better player comes back, is my answer.
Right, so if Garrett Wilson doesn't come back this week, is Adonai Mitchell a fantasy viable player?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think I'm starting him. I'm starting him. I have the decision to make on, I think it was Metcalf, Adonai Mitchell, Higgins. I don't know. Definitely. Very, very startable.
Vin, what about you?
I mean, I don't know. Are you starting a Jet?
Yeah, that is tough.
I mean, look, like I said, there's a reason he's a free agent, right, in our league. So
Yeah, I mean that's just it goes back. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a big risk taker in fantasy. It's why if I'm Mitch, I'm starting Lamar Jackson. I don't know how you bench him for Matt Stafford. I don't know how
because
you're
it's
benching
Stafford's
whoever
not a
you
risk
currently
because he's the
have.
number 3 fantasy quarterback.
I get it. It's just Mitch, and I know Mitch feels this way because we've talked about it. Like, if you lose because you started Lamar Jackson, are you really going to hate yourself? If you lose because
Yes,
you started
he's
whoever
had
you're
he's had
starting
3 consecutive
over
single-digit weeks.
Adonai Mitchell, so he's going to have 4. He's going to
I'm
have
not saying
4.
he's going to have 4, but I'm saying what if he puts up 20 and Stafford's up 30? You're talking about it's not like you're like it's not a Billy Volek situation, right? For those who don't know, let me give you some little history about us.
Oh,
Back
no.
back in I think our first ever
Don't tell him who I benched.
fantasy Super Bowl, Mitch had a top 3 fantasy quarterback and benched him for Billy Volek. And you're probably thinking to yourself, who the hell is Billy Volek? I've never heard of that guy. Well, the reason you never heard of that guy is because he was a backup quarterback.
For the Broncos.
For what? It's for the
The
Titans.
Broncos.
No, it's for the Titans.
No, for the Titans.
Wait,
He
what?
was-
I think.
He was the backup
No, it's
quarterback.
Titans.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. He
Backup
played the
quarterback
Broncos.
for the
Steve
Tennessee
McNair.
Titans.
Yeah, sorry.
Behind, go ahead, say that again, Vin.
Behind Steve McNair.
Behind Steve McNair, who's a great fantasy quarterback. That was a great offense back in the day. I know it's hard to like, Titans good offense? What? I know. Back then they were. So McNair gets hurt. Volek comes in, and he has back-to-back great games. So Mitch says, hey, this guy's rolling. The Titans are great. I'm going to start Billy Volek in the fantasy Super Bowl. Mitch, remind me, how many fantasy points did Billy Volek get you in the fantasy Super Bowl that year?
I think it was 2 or 1.
I think it was negative. Wasn't it? Wasn't it negative?
No, I
one?
think it was -2. Yeah, -2.
Or 0. Here, I have the stats
I'm
right
almost
here.
positive it was negative.
Billy Volek.
It was against the
went-
Broncos, I'm pretty sure.
He,
Right?
Yeah, it was. He
Thank
threw
you.
for
I knew
4
it.
He went. Oh my God, man! This guy was on an all-time heater.
That's what I'm saying. And this is before quarterbacks were on heaters.
Two-
This is before the Rodgers years and all that.
He went 270, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 426, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 492, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception,
Oh, gosh.
111 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in the Super Bowl for Mitch.
And I think he had a
with
fumble loss.
-2.
Yeah. So yeah,
And a fumble.
he finished with -2 fantasy points. And the reason I bring this up is you're not debating about whether or not to start a Billy Volek, a guy who's on a heat.
Well, you are with Adonai Mitchell.
No, but he went back to the Lamar Jackson thing. He keeps bringing it back to him. He's all about himself, right?
I did not.
So-
I don't think I did, but go on.
I brought it back to you.
Yeah, you
I was
Somebody
just saying, like, it was me. Just me. I'm just merely saying it's the same thing. That's how I feel with Adonai Mitchell. It's like,
I was waiting for this
You're
because I could go
talking
back
about
to
a guy who's the number 3 fantasy quarterback, who's been doing it consistently all year.
Yeah, he is.
He hasn't had a game as bad as Lamar Jackson has had 3 games in a row. He hasn't had one game all year, and he's played every game, unlike Lamar. He hasn't had one game all year playing every single game that was as bad as even one of Lamar Jackson's last 3. I get that Lamar Jackson may be an all-time great fantasy quarterback. I get that. But he hasn't been this year. He hasn't been recently. Matthew Stafford is... Mitch, you are the guy who preaches, if you have a 400 fantasy point quarterback, you'll win the Super Bowl. You know who's on pace for 400 points this year? Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, you need
Why are you
425,
benching
but-
him for Lamar Jackson? And why am I
Yeah.
trying to help you so much, by the way? Because I, like everyone else, am afraid of Austin's team. And if you lose, Austin makes the playoffs. And if I win this week, I'd be the guy who had to play him week 1. So no, I don't want to play Austin. So if you could please win, that'd be great for me. And the best chance you have of winning is starting the good quarterback you have in Matthew Stafford and not the mid quarterback you have in Lamar Jackson.
Can we tab this and in 2 weeks from now, I hope Lamar Jackson drops 50 fantasy points on you?
Here's the thing, and I know you won't recognize it, but I'll say it on the record because it's true.
I won't reckon-
Even if that happens, my argument would still be the correct argument without
That's
without
actually a good
being
point.
able to predict
Okay,
the future.
back to
what
Adonai
I'm
Mitchell,
saying,
because-
my argument is correct regardless of what actually happens. You should start starting Stafford is the correct line of play,
Okay, so then
regardless
if I
of what
start-
actually happens.
If I start Lamar and he does better than Stafford, then I'll get a good job.
No, but you still made the wrong call. But I'll say you got lucky.
Oh, okay, all right. Back to Adonai Mitchell. If you have a fantasy team this weekend and you're trying to start them, who would you start over the other person? Would you start Khalil Shakir or Adonai Mitchell?
Mitchell.
Would you, Vinny?
By the way, this is under the assumption that Garrett Wilson isn't playing, right?
Correct.
Shakir.
Shakir. This is under the assumption that Wilson's not playing.
Yeah.
Greg Dortch or Adonai Mitchell?
Mitchell. You're starting Dortch. You got issues.
Tisla or Adonai Mitchell?
Who?
Tisla. He's ranked number 22 right now.
Without Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
Without Amon-Ra, I'm starting Tesla probably.
I'm still starting Mitchell because they're both upside plays, and Mitchell's going to get the targets. I don't know that Tesla's going to get the targets.
Debo Samuel or Adonai Mitchell?
Now that McLaurin's back, give me Mitchell.
I'll take Debo.
Chris Godwin or Adonai Mitchell?
Godwin.
Yeah.
But I'm a believer.
Troy Franklin or Adonai Mitchell?
Yeah.
Mitchell.
It depends on who they're playing, because some games Franklin's great.
Franklin's playing. Okay, that's fine. You could say even. I'll allow a pass.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr. or Adonai?
I like guys who get the ball thrown their way. Hey, that's a good segue to my last. I'm going to say Mitchell, and here's why. Most touchdowns in Jaguars history through their first 72 starts. Where do you guys think Trevor Lawrence ranks in the list?
No idea.
First.
No.
Third.
Say it again?
Third.
Mark Brunell and the running guy, what was his name?
Byron Leftwich.
No. The other one.
Leftwich is at 5 with 49. Lawrence is third with 85. Brunell is
the big
with 92.
Meathead white guy.
I know his name. He was in the show The Good Place or whatever.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. Bortles.
Blake
Blake Bortles with 101.
Yes.
That's right. Blake Bortles has threw 16 more TDs through his first 72 games as a Jag than T-Law. We all know how bad T-Law is. So why are we going to believe believing in the Jaguars receivers?
Also, back to my thing, we'll wrap it up real quick. Those wide receivers I just named, I know you put some of ahead of them or not, but that puts you at like 16 to 22, which is still in a 2 wide receiver starting league. That's top. That's still a starter. And a 3 wide receiver is definitely a starter, and a flex that puts you like right on the border, right? So yeah, I'd start Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some play there this week. If you're like, look, if you have guys that you believe in, stick with your guys. But if you're someone who, I mean, obviously this is after waivers have already happened, but there's leagues where he's not picked up, as you saw in ours. Like, if you're someone who doesn't have a set wide receiver, maybe you're in a PPR league and you've only got 2 and you need that third or whatever, like, that's a guy to be looking at this week.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, I think I've exhausted my list of news and things that I planned on talking about. I mean, I have some games and stuff we can play, but it's already been kind of long. So, is there anything you guys wanted to talk about?
No, we could probably just do the league where.
All right, Vinny, what about you before we go around the league?
No, I'm good.
All right, so we're gonna go around the league and take a look at how things went this past weekend. There were a lot of teams live for playoffs going into the weekend. There are a lot less teams live now, so let's go through and see what happened. The Sharks fall to the Mile High Heist. As a result, this makes it where I'm not a lock to win the division. I am still going to be a lock for the playoffs, as we'll see. Biggest regret here is obviously Jameson Williams. Obviously, I didn't know that that Amon-Ra was going to get hurt in the first quarter. But yeah, Jameson Williams was coming off a really great tear. 12, then 0, then 12, 17, 14, but then 0 again. So like the fact that he either gets double digits or a 0 scared me. So and this was a game that I knew winning would lock me into playoffs. So I played the safer play with Olave, and then sure enough, he becomes a wide receiver 1 because Amon-Ra goes down, scores 20 fantasy points, and Olave only got 10, which is fine, but just not as much. But really, I lost to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown and the Jaguars. A.J. Brown popped off against me. I mean, a lot of his players did well. I'm not knocking that, and I added some goose eggs, like Tyler Luke, the Ravens kicker, because the Ravens quarterback is so bad. Only got me 2 points. But yeah, I don't know. Not a ton to say here other than A.J. Brown is coming alive, which, Ironic, I was the one that backed him earlier and saying he was a good player, and he punishes me for it. He should have done this to Mitch, not me.
I will be happy to play against AJ Brown in the playoffs.
Any thoughts on this game before we go to the next one?
No, I mean it's hard to beat a team that scores 115 if your quarterback scores 15, and yeah.
Well, I don't blame my quarterback for that. He hit Chris Godwin in the hands in the end zone.
No.
Godwin dropped it.
I'm just saying, like, it takes a very special day to score 115 fantasy points in our league. You lost the top scorer. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
You made all the right coaching decisions in the world, you still would have lost.
Yeah, no, that's true. All right, moving on. Spark plugs go down again. They had him on Raw, who didn't do him any favors, but Aussies, like I said, this team is scary. Bowers is cooking. He's the only Raider we're starting in fantasy. Collins is cooking. Brian Robinson's cooking. Drake May is cooking. Rico Dowdle had, quite frankly, a concerning game because he got out-touched and outperformed by Juba Hubbard, which has not been the case pretty much all year since he got the job. So we'll have to see how that plays out because they're on a bye this week. But the fact that Austin still scored 111 points, even on a day where Rico Dowdle and JSN combined for less than 10 fantasy points, that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah, it's also scary is his breakdown because like he has 6 or 7 losses for a reason. You go back and look at him, he doesn't score above 60 points some weeks, and then next week for like a month straight now he's scored 120 or 110 every single week for this last month. He was, I think, 8th in points 4 or 5 weeks ago. This team is very, very scary and easily the best team right now.
I mean, I 100% agree. I don't want to sit here and say I've fallen trapped to I have preferences with who I play in the playoffs, and it just never seems to work out when you try to hope for the best. I do think Austin's is the scariest team. If you look at like league leaders, he has 2 of the top quarterbacks, 1 of the top running backs, the top wide receiver, the top one of the top tight ends. Like he's just top 5 in his position across the board, and it's just like frustrating.
Well, the
reason he was so bad though, Mitch, is like May. He was probably starting Goff. Goff didn't have the greatest start to the season. Did he? So, May took a while to become this MVP candidate. Nico Collins was out for a while. Then he was Nico without Stroud. He could never fill his RB2 hole. Dowdle all of a sudden he gets. Bowers was out forever.
Half the season, I think that's why Dowdle. So this happened to me last year. I couldn't fill my RB2 hole, and I got Chase Brown after the injury to the starter. And I think it's kind of the same script. He just had too many losses as opposed to it. But the thing is, like, the reason why I really respect this team, and like if he wins and I lose the Nolan or whatever, I'm rooting for this team, is because look, Drake May drafted, Bijan drafted, Nico drafted, Jigba drafted, Bowers drafted, Ramsmeyer's drafted. His whole team's drafted. Like, other people can't claim that. Other people have got a lot of waiver wires and other stuff like that. His team is like, this is what you want. And also, Austin and I were texting, and I was like, Austin's like, I'm so happy you tanked this month to give me a chance or whatever. And I was like, no, I don't like tanking. I'd rather not give you a chance. He's like, I also like not having 20-year droughts, so thank you. So I was like, oh, damn, when you put it that way.
He was the first one to 3 chips, and he hadn't won a chip since. But no one knows droughts like me, so I don't want to hear about it.
This in an alternate parallel universe, Austin's record is Alex and Matt's record, and I'm fighting for a wild card with Matt or Alex right now. But it just didn't work that way because of points against. It's wild.
Anyway, with this win, that keeps him live for the playoffs. With your win, that keeps you live for the playoffs, even though Lamar Jackson laid another egg. Yet you still continue to start him. Zay Flowers with -2. Higgins didn't play. So you definitely made the right call with the 4 points from Waddle. I want to point out, Zay Flowers, so bad that he got negative points, so it was still correct to start him even when
I might be starting him this week over Rice and Higgins, though. We'll see.
What?
I mean, sorry, over Waddle and Higgins, not Rice. Rice is my main man.
I don't... How? Mitch, how? How are you starting Zay Flowers after this is what he did last week?
The sad part is that he still has more targets than Waddle and Higgins, and he still has more yards. He just doesn't have the TDs that Waddle and Higgins have. But anyways, I'm being hypocritical because I've started Waddle or Higgins over Zay the last 3 weeks. So I'm just having fun with it. Right now.
And Chris with the epic mistake of leaving Toyotathon on the bench. I don't care how good Jacoby Brissett's playing. Like, we're in Toyotathon right now, guys. You guys didn't believe in it. I did. Jordan Love this week, 33 fantasy points, threw for 4 TDs. You don't mess with this guy when Toyotathon's on, guys. You just don't. You set it and forget it.
Can we just talk about Chris being a Cardinals fan and choosing to start Michael Wilson over Marvin Harrison? I think that's pretty interesting.
I mean, Michael Wilson has had back-to-back monster games with Jacoby
I get
Brissett.
it. I get it.
So I
But,
get
like,
it.
The
Like,
fact that that's even a thing, you're like, dang, this guy. It's like one guy who was most likely either a late round or undrafted free agent versus a guy who was taken like 4th overall. So
He's got Mark Andrews on his team. F him.
And then
Just kidding.
moving on, Cameron, who had to start Blake Corum because he dropped Bucky Irving, which is just a whole another thing, still gets the W, which unfortunately for Brake, but fortunately for me and Vinny, eliminates Brake from the playoff contention, slots Vinny in as the division winner, slots me in as either a division winner or wild card, slots Matt in as either a division winner or wild card. So this game is what kind of changed the whole landscape. This game put 3 teams in the playoffs. Cameron beating Brake on the back of Mahomes and his running back scoring the bulk of his points. Brake, unfortunately, had not bad games, but no TDs, really. Gibbs didn't score a touchdown. Puka didn't score a touchdown. Hunt didn't score a touchdown. Pitts didn't score a touchdown. Like, he just didn't get any touchdowns from his team other than Devontae Adams, who can't be stopped because his quarterback is who? Oh, yeah, Matthew Stafford.
He's pretty average, I've heard.
I'm just saying he had 17 as the the 2 receivers for Stafford had 17 and 7. The number 1 receiver for Lamar Jackson had -2. Just say it.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, good job. I don't know if anyone's gonna have 2 wide receivers on the same team again do ever as this well ever again. So good job, Adam.
yeah, this is I agree with that. This is the one that everybody was watching.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my game's next. This is one of those things where Cam definitely did not deserve to win with Blake Corum as RB2 getting 14 points. I didn't deserve to win scoring 79. So it was like one of those like perfect storm weeks where you're just like, oh my God, it's going to be next week for all the marbles. I'm missing the playoffs, and somehow we all clinch it. So
it also means now that if Mitch wins this week, I get pied in the face again.
Yeah.
Because Matt is locked in the playoffs as a black. I'm locked in the playoffs as a Sparks. So
even though I was rooting for Adam, it saved me
Mitch
a pie.
makes the playoffs, I now get pied in the face again.
I was 100% rooting for Adam, but the Cameron inconsistency this year is a little bit tilting or frustrating, whatever you want to say it. Yeah. Oh, I have something to say after we do the little just remind me. I'll wait till we go through.
Let's go to the next one. Yeah, Vinny got the dub. Didn't put up a lot of points. Had some guys put up 0, like Roma Dunze. But Miles just didn't have a lot going for him. I mean, he picked up Bucky Irving off waivers, so he did have Bucky Irving. He got Joe Burrow back, which is great. But when your first round pick is Justin Jefferson and he doesn't have a quarterback and he's putting up goose eggs for you, that's going to be tough to overcome.
Yeah, they should have made Justin Jefferson play quarterback.
Yeah, I kind of had I think we all put in a waiver claim for Bucky Irving, so I'm glad that it.
No,
I'm glad that it went to Miles, who's not going to make the playoffs.
Okay, I was about to be
pissed off. I was about to be pissed off that if Bucky Irving could have beat me, but then he left me on a guy on the bench who he probably would have started.
No, Vinny, it's worse than that. Go, Alex. Go to the league home. I was going to wait till the end. Sorry to cut you off, but go to the league home page real quick, Alex. Click league home. Scroll down a little bit to waiver wires a couple weeks ago. This one, okay? So Cameron dropped Bucky at the middle of a Sunday afternoon game. I don't think a lot of people noticed that Bucky was even dropped, right?
He did it because he didn't wake up in time to start Emmanuel Wilson, which by the way, didn't wake up in time. Set your lineup during the week, man. Like,
okay,
Josh Jacobs.
I'm not making an excuse.
No, I know, but I need to set a little background here.
Oh, gotcha.
Josh Jacobs had been ruled out long in advance. We knew he was not going to play. Emmanuel Wilson was his backup. Everyone knew he was going to be a great play. He scored 20-something fantasy points. Cameron did not start him. And Cameron didn't have anyone else he could start. And the only person he could drop was Bucky Irving because the Bucs were on a bye that week. So he ends up dropping Bucky Irving to pick up a running back who got him like 0 points. I don't even know who he picked up.
It wasn't Carter. It was the Wilson. Or no, it wasn't Wilson. I forget who it was.
It doesn't matter. The point is he dropped Bucky freaking Irving. Who he held on to this guy all year. Like, if he'd done this back in week 3 when Bucky first got hurt, okay, fine. Like, still a terrible decision, but you're banking on him never coming back. When you drop him once he starts practicing again, like, come on, dude. I'm
Well, he had to do it right
I'm
because
with
of
Vinny.
it.
I'm so sorry, Mitch. Go ahead and make your point, but I'm so glad this went to someone who's not a contender because I would
Thank
have
you.
been pretty furious.
That's what I'm getting to,
It's
Alex.
a, it,
Wait,
that,
time out,
that,
time
that,
out. Let me finish, please, please.
yeah.
So I asked Chris and Austin. They didn't know Bucky was a free agent. Okay, all we have to do is call Mile Heist right now, Luis, and ask him, "Did you know Bucky Irving was a free agent?" Because if Miles doesn't pick him up, look who gets Bucky Irving.
You do.
I do.
Yeah.
So if Miles doesn't realize this and play waivers, because Sylvie didn't play waivers, who else am I missing? Cameron could have played waivers to get Bucky back for himself, by the way. Because my record, I didn't start losing until lately, these last 3 weeks. So there are 4 or 5 people who didn't play waivers. And I asked Austin and Chris, and Austin said to me, no, I actually didn't realize. And how would you expect? I don't blame people for not knowing Bucky was a free agent when he was dropped Sunday afternoon. You know what I mean? And you're not really looking for that. And you have jobs and blah, 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 and you're not really blah, blah, blah. So I was going to get Bucky Irving if Miles didn't grab him. And that's a fact.
I mean,
Yeah. I think the thing that makes me the most mad about this, and regardless of the fact that I had to play him this week, is that, like you said, the guy that he picked up and started wasn't necessarily going to be someone that wins in the game. But I don't know. I have a lot to say. That's a league-altering move that could have
Yes.
changed the entire playoff picture, and stuff like that really pisses me off in
Well,
competitive leagues.
I'm telling you right now,
Um,
Vinny, I'm starting Bucky over RJ Harvey. So you or Alex or Matt will be playing Jonathan Taylor and Bucky Irving next week if
I
Miles
was
don't do
picking him
that.
up and starting him alongside Christian McCaffrey the rest of the year. So
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
but
was-
I'm ahead of you on waivers is what I'm
No, I
trying
know,
to say.
but and I had a waiver claim in for him too. And I will say this: your point of like, well, they didn't know. That's on them. Like, this league is really important to a lot of us. I mean, we have a whole podcast about it. So if you're not checking who's a free agent in your league, like, what are you even doing?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Alex. I didn't even realize Irving was a free agent until I checked because I don't like follow Cameron, and then I looked at his team like Monday night or Tuesday night or whatever. I was like, wait, where's Bucky on his team? And then I had to check league feed. I'm like, oh man, he dropped them Sunday
Right,
afternoon.
but
So
all you
I'm
have
gonna be
to
honest,
do-
I didn't even know.
All you have to do, if you go to players and stats and sort by projections, this shows you what people projected to score, right?
Yeah,
And Bucky
But
Irving was
ironically,
projected to play. Like, you
I don't know if
I-
Bucky was being projected when he got picked up because they weren't.
He
sure if
was because he was like,
practice,
projected
but
to come
wasn't
back and
for
play. so.
sure clear. Yeah, so I think it was a little shady. All I'm trying to say is you, Matt, and Vinny are all after me on the waivers during that week. I
Yeah.
promise you. You could even look at it.
No, I saw
so
it.
that would be going to me, who, by the way, has a pretty big history in this league, and you're giving me Bucky Irving before going into the playoffs.
I'll be
That
honest,
would've
Mitch.
been
If,
effed.
if you had ended up getting Bucky Irving off waivers and ended up winning with him as a starter, with him being a reason for it, I think there'd be a pretty
Asterisk?
big asterisk on the season. And
I
and
would've been the
that
first
and look,
person to
man,
put
Mitch,
the
that's not just you.
asterisk.
That would go for Vinny or me, whoever got him, whoever got Bucky Irving. If they started him and won because of it, I think it'd be an ad. And I'm glad. And this is
So
not
thank you,
shade to
Miles.
Miles. I have
Thank
nothing
you.
but respect and appreciate Miles as a person and human. I'm really glad that Miles lost after picking him up. Not that I wanted Miles to lose. It would have been better for me if Miles beat Vinny. We wouldn't have to hear Vinny complain about this. Maybe I don't get pied in the face. But I would have felt bad if Bucky Irving ended up being the difference in the playoff race. Because if Vinny loses this game, then next week still matters for his division.
But I
Breaks
don't
the
agree
line.
at all because Vinny benefited from the Cameron ownership the week before when he gets a free win. So he might have to play a
No,
little
you
bit
and,
harder
and,
on
Vin, and,
Miles'
Vin, and
team.
Vinny and I texted about that a lot too last week. Yeah, we didn't cover that. So I guess we just showed last week. Vinny and I talked about that last. We were both really we were both really hoping that. Well, I either hoped that he lost or that he won by so much that it didn't matter because he picked up Blake Corum, because the 23 points from Wilson
Ingram on a bye.
over the 22, that's 21 point difference. He would have lost anyway. If that 21 point difference would have made the difference in the game, I would have
Yeah.
been pretty upset.
Well, look, that's what I was saying to Miles. Is the fact is, and Matt as well as other people talked about this, is like, yeah, Vinny scored 107 that week, so thankfully that resides my anger. But
Yeah.
the Cameron giving Vinny a free week does not make me less sympathetic to Vinny having to play Miles with Bucky, because it's like, you got the free win. You know what a free win would do for my division right now to Austin or me? Like, it basically clinches us.
Yeah,
so
that's
if we
fair.
got a free win against Nolan or Chris or whatever, that changes our whole dynamic of a division. Whereas,
Well, yeah.
yeah, that's
But
what
it's
I'm
not
saying.
like I
is-
scored 70 points. Like, that
but
was the
that's
whole
what I'm
thing.
saying.
It's like,
What if you did score 80 points or 85?
oh, then I think that's just as big of an asterisk.
Okay, that's what I'm saying is so you benefited from Cameron that week, but then you lose a little bit from Miles having to start Bucky. So I think it kind
I'm
of
more
balances.
upset by the fact that I could care less that Miles picked him up. It's
Yeah.
frustrating to think like, wow, Miles went from having no running backs to starting Bucky
Well,
freaking Irving,
well,
like
Yeah.
a top
the
10 projected running back. But what would make me more mad about the whole situation, even if it went to Adam, even if it went to Austin, like if he went to a playoff contending team, it's a player who you should not have a chance at this
Yeah.
late in the season to alter our league. Like I think we all care way too much about the league. I'm not mad at anybody but one single person who probably doesn't listen to this podcast. Like
Definitely doesn't.
like the move pisses me off. Like it
Yeah,
actually
agreed.
makes Cameron not starting a lineup and then dropping a top 10 fantasy running back. There's a part of me that's like I don't even want him in the league, but I know that's an overreaction. But it's like we've had these problems all season, so that's
I
neither here
agree.
nor
So
there. It's
that's
just
I
like that
agree.
pisses me off.
yeah,
More
well,
I
like
agree with you
no,
more.
I hate
and
that
to
we're
your
even
point,
talking about it, but it pisses me off.
no, and
Very
to your
fair.
point about like dropping Bucky Irving, like I'm pretty sure like their Yahoo leagues have you can't cut lists. There are players you're not allowed to drop.
That's very
I'm
true.
I don't know if Bucky Irving's on it, but I imagine he probably is on the can't cut list. So it's like
That would be very interesting to know, Alex. That's actually a great. I just cussed. A great point. Sorry, guys.
now
You
we
can
don't.
edit that out
Now the
later,
reason we
producer.
don't have a can't cut list is one we expect all of our fantasy managers to be paying attention and competent, but also we don't have an IR spot. Yahoo leagues do, so that there's a little bit of more leeway there because like, oh, I can't cut Bucky Irving, but I could also stash him on IR all season and still use that roster spot. Whereas in our
Exactly.
league, you're actually losing the roster spot by keeping an IR player. But hey, I've done that. I've done that all year. I've had Omarion Hampton on IR for like 7 weeks. He's still on my roster. Why? Because I'm not going to drop a guy who might be a starting fantasy running back for somebody else. Even once he's healthy, I'm not playing him. I'm starting Jacob and Williams, right? Like I have two
Yeah.
top 6 fantasy running backs. I'm starting both of them. Set them and forget them. But that doesn't mean I want to put this guy back in the free agent pool.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I'm just thankful Vinny scored them as many points as he did that week. That's all I'm thankful for. Because like imagine
no, I
if
am.
Cameron
I'm really
beat
glad
Vinny.
that Vinny won by as much as he did last week.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
the point that even if he had started Emmanuel Wilson against Vinny still would have won by 17. I don't think there's any free agent tight end he would have realistically picked up that would have got him 17, right? Because he
Agreed.
had tight end on by. So Vinny was going to win either way. And
That makes me happy.
to that same extent, even though like Alex, the fantasy manager, like in this league, would have like Team Sharks would have preferred Vinny lost to Team Dinosaurs, but
Yeah.
Alex, the person who cares about fantasy football and the integrity of the league, is glad that Vinny did not lose because of Irving, right?
Right. So if Vinny loses to
or
Cameron,
if
or
Miles had won
yeah.
like just because of other stuff, if Miles won because Joe Burrow came back and dropped 40 burger, that's cool too. I just didn't want it to be a situation where Bucky Irving first game back has 30 fantasy points and Miles wins by 3. You know what I mean? That would have sucked.
Agreed.
But that didn't happen,
Because-
so thankfully. So let's move
Yeah.
on. The last one here. Chaos gets
Vinny
the dub.
saved Cameron, so to speak.
Yeah, Vinny literally both
Saved
both of the
Cameron.
games that Cameron affected. Because now I think next will be Miles playing Cameron. So I hope Miles destroys Cameron with Bucky Irving. That'd be
Hope he
great.
destroys them.
Um,
Yeah.
Anyway,
50 bomb.
yeah. So, and then lastly, Chaos and Serial Killers. Matt had a solid outing. Sylvie had a couple big performers and a couple of duds. And Matt got the dub, which again is going to set up the playoff race. So let's go ahead and, unless anyone has anything to say about this game, I'll show the playoff race.
No.
No, just I'm glad that Matt got to go on the Caleb Williams roller coaster, but the fact that both Swift and Menungai scored 19 fantasy points is pretty impressive.
Yeah, Matt's on two roller
The
coasters.
Bears running game is impressive to me how good the Bears running game is when you consider how bad their passing game is.
Yeah, I would
Because
say
usually,
now that Burrow
like,
is
it's the other way around.
back, and I know Chase has been playing really well. Man, I don't know, man. I think our fantasy playoffs, no matter who makes it, is going to be one of the most competitive it's been 1-4 in a while. Usually there's like 1 or 2 clear front runners. I think 1-4 this year is very close.
All right, so let's look at the standings. We're going to start up here in the intensity division. All great teams, 6 and 7 being the low mark, and these two teams will play next week. 2 teams at 9 and 4. As it stands, if season ended today, Matt would be the division winner. I'd be the wild card, but we actually play this week. The winner of our game will be the division winner. The loser of our game will be the wild card most likely, depending on how it goes. Actually, no, yeah, that's how that one's going to go. So winner takes the division, loser becomes the wild card. Winner will be the 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs. Loser will be the 4 seed by default. Going down to the integrity division, this division had a lot of parity again, other than dinosaurs. You're going to have at least a couple teams potentially with winning records or positive records or 500 records, what have you. But Vinny has locked this division up now. He has won the division. He will either be the 1 seed or the 2 seed, depending on what happens next week. Most likely looking at being the 1 seed in the playoffs based on points for. There is a scenario where Matt beats me and just scores a crap ton of points and becomes the 1 seed. But if I had to pick it right now, I think Vinny would be the 1 seed. Matt or I will be 2, and then Matt or I will be 4. And then lastly, the 3 seed, the division that brings up the rear. This is the only division still in contest. So we have the Avengers, who lead the division, and the Aussies, both of the same division record, but the Avengers are up a game. If the Avengers win, they clinch. If they lose and the Aussies win, because the Aussies have 75 more points for, realistically, they will win. There's highly unlikely that they will outscore the Aussies by that many points in a loss. So, yeah, Mitch wins. He is in as the 3 seed. Mitch loses and Austin wins. Austin is in as the 3 seed. So, depending on what happens in this division, one of these 2 players is going to be playing either Matt or myself, and either Matt or myself will be playing Vinny.
Well, Vinny and I could play in a rematch unless he's too scared, but I'm for sure he's more scared of the other team, so I think Vinny's might be rooting for the rematch. And it's crazy to me.
Well, I don't see a world where Vinny plays. Vinny's going to be the 1 seed, almost guaranteed.
Oh wait,
well, I still have to win.
If he wins,
and I have a lot of players on bye.
That's
so.
true. I guess there is a scenario where if Vinny loses, sorry, I forgot. If Vinny loses, then the winner of Matt and I would be the 1 seed. Vinny would be the 2. Mitch or Austin would be the 3, and then Matt or I would be the 4 still. So yeah.
And I'm not trying to play with Destiny. I'm over here. I'm trying to win.
You're not resting your players in week 14?
I'm not resting players to say I want to play, either you or Matt or one of the other. So I'm not playing with that game of like, oh, this team is worse. I don't think there's a win. Like, it's not a winning scenario. Like, I win, I become the 1 seed. I have to play whoever loses between you or Matt. I lose and I'm the 2 seed and I play Austin or Mitch. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's 1 through 4 is just a brutal pairing this year.
What's also wild to me is Austin only has 1 week 4, 1 top week scoring, and Vinny has 3. That makes sense. Top scorer, right? Vinny and Austin are basically tied 4 points difference, but Austin only has 1 week 4. And then I'm 75 points behind with 3 weeks. So that's so wild.
Austin has been the scariest team in the league for like 6 weeks in a row, and it's not fun to look at.
It's not.
I think he was 1 and 6, 1 and 6, 1 and 5.
Like yeah.
I just look. It goes to show you never give up because you're always live. He's not in a winning end. I mean, because he does need help, but the help he needs is that he needs Team Spark Plugs to beat Avengers. And if you look at the records, you're like, oh well, Avengers should win. But if you look at historic records, I think Spark Plugs has more wins against the Avengers than anyone else in the league.
I personally not going to pick favorites. I think Austin is just a very hot team. I don't want to play him. But how funny would it be if Saquon finally just has a 40 banger against Mitch and just knocks that's what does Mitch in is Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
like,
I'm torn between like rooting for the underdog plus like the funny factor of being on the podcast where you and I are in the playoffs and Mitch isn't, and the opposite side of that coin of being like, yeah, but I don't want to play Austin.
I got 2 revenge games. I knocked Nolan out of the first round of the playoffs last year, where I think he might have had the best team last year. I know Vinny and I had good teams, but Nolan had an easily championship caliber team. So that's a revenge game. Why wouldn't Nolan want to knock me out after I knocked him out of the playoffs last year? It's tit for tat. And then after that, I might go play Vinny in a revenge game. So I'm not really looking for it. And then I might play Matt in the Super Bowl final. So it's going to be.
What about Chop Liver?
No, I'm just saying it's going to go from.
Why are you playing Matt in the Super Bowl, not me?
I'm just saying it's going to go from Nolan, like my biggest in-division rivalry, the guy who always beats me, to then a revenge game on Vinny, to Matt. It's not going to be fun.
Yeah, that actually.
All right, here we go, Alex.
I'm actually rooting for you. I'm actually rooting for you, Vinny, and the reason I'm rooting for you is because if you lose, then Matt and I will play each other this weekend next week.
True.
Because
Yeah.
we will play each other in round one of the playoffs if you lose this week.
Or we multiply our odds. Austin makes the playoffs, and then either me or you beat Matt next week, and then it's me and you in the Super Bowl. Just no blacks in the Super Bowl. That's what we can risk
Wow.
That's true. Hold on. For the
Which is like
actually-
anti-NFL.
Actually, as afraid of Austin's team as I am, I think I have to be for Austin's team just because, like, I'm already getting pied so many times. So the only way to avoid another pie is for
Is for a black to fall out.
because I'm gonna lose the Higgins Waddle bet because Higgins got hurt with a concussion. Like I'm gonna lose that bet too.
Zay's gonna beat both of them with a -2 week.
That's true. Zay helped me out with that 6 yard week. The week that Higgins didn't play, he only fell 6 yards behind.
Yeah. Oh man, no, they're all bad. It's like the spirit. Every bet we make, the spirit of the bet doesn't play out. It's like they're all either great or they're all either terrible. There's like no discrepancy.
All right, there's one other league for us to look at, and that is our Doctors of Doom.
Did we beat them? Did we beat Go
podcast
Ducks?
league? We did. So we beat. Good news and bad news. The bad news is a couple weeks ago we took an L that we couldn't really afford. The good news is
We're fourth in
last
points.
week we played the number 2 team in the league, and look at the score, guys.
Oh my
117.44
gosh.
to 117.04.
Hey, let me
We
see it.
picked up the
Let me see
dub, but more importantly, I think I can bring this up bigger. Right there we go. And that's with Amon Ra not playing, by the way. If not, we would have won easy.
His team
But-
is kind of nasty. I'm not gonna lie.
He's the number 2 new seed. But more importantly, the week before, we beat Go Ducks. We did
Oh
it,
my
boys.
gosh, barely.
We beat Go Ducks.
Barely.
Got past them.
With a Jameson Williams zero burger. Just zero spot in there. My gosh.
But just going to, you never give up. We are still theoretically live for the playoffs. We need help.
Behind Go Ducks?
We are behind Go Ducks.
Ducks.
So we play McConkey Kong, which is not a good team.
Oh, he
So-
plays the top team though. We're good. Alex, he plays the number 2 team.
Well, only top 4 make the playoffs. So we need both
Oh.
Chase Happens and
That's
Go
right.
Ducks to lose. And we only have 5 more points for, so we need to make sure we stay above them. So it is possible. Chase Happens, not playing a great team, but it is projected to be even. Go
Oh.
Ducks is playing a great team. So we need the team that just scored 117 against us to beat Go Ducks for us, which is very doable.
Go Ducks is projected to win.
And we need the Bills to win. So look, we need some help. We need 2 teams to lose and us to win. But in that scenario, we do make the playoffs, even though we started this league, I think 1-6, something like that. So
How fitting is it that after this whole narration of the whole year, the storyline, it's Go Ducks are going to be the last spot in? How great would that be?
that would be low
didn't even-
key
it's like
for the
you can write
memes.
this
It would be
stuff.
hilarious for Go Ducks to be the 4 seed and not us. But I don't want that to happen. For obvious
Don't put
reasons.
that out there. I don't care about memes. Let's just let's make
But
the
hey, it
playoffs.
just comes down to fantasy D. Look at this fantasy D though. How bad we've been. We have the second worst fantasy D in the league, and that's why we're where we are.
Yeah, definitely.
Can we
points
just
for-
refresh? Can we
points
just
for were
refresh
four.
what our roster is?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So we have Joe Burrow back. We were rolling with Danny Dimes, but Joe Burrow's been out back. We have Amon Ra, but he's hurt.
Oh wow.
We have Rasheed Rice. The thing that's killing us is our first round pick, Saquon Barkley. He's just been a trash can fire. We got Achane, who's been great. We need help at tight end. We have Travis Etienne, who 1 week is good and 1 week is bad. And then we have T. Higgins, who now that he has Burrow back, has been hurt and hasn't played. Seattle D's good. McLaughlin's kicker, whatever. So who do you guys think we should be starting? So if Amon Ra doesn't play,
It's probably Higgins.
Try Alec Pierce.
we go
No,
with
he's
Higgins
been pretty hot
or
recently.
Pierce? Yeah, I was thinking. Well, sorry. I guess if Higgins plays, then I think we go with Higgins, right? But like if neither Higgins nor Amon Ra play, do we go with Pierce?
Yeah, it's got to be Pierce.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in our flex spot, do we roll with Etienne or do we go with a
God.
Kamani
Well,
Vidal?
Well, here. Okay, well, I just had to listen to someone tell me to bench Lamar. Why aren't we benching Barkley, bro?
For
Anyone. For a Stafford or a Stafford
because
equivalent.
he's a running back. We don't have our other running backs
That's
are
true.
like we don't have.
That's true.
We only have Vidal and like Vidal.
I
Amari
was
Hampton
just-
may
I
come
was
back
just
this
joking
week
around. I
and
don't
Herbert
wanna
may not play. Like the problem with Vidal is 21-5, 19-3, 17-2. Like I just don't know what he's gonna do.
I was joking,
20.
Alex. If Vinny's premonition comes true and Barkley knocks me out, at least we're gonna get points on this team with him. I promise you.
I mean, I just think it's funny because like he's clearly not
Well, that
going
goes.
to.
Okay, so we can start doing a tagline. Do we have Mitch's Barkley or do we have Nolan's Barkley? And we can do the same thing for you, Vinny. Do we have Chris's Christian McCaffrey or do we have Vinny's Christian McCaffrey? Works both ways.
Anyway, before you guys get sidetracked, so what do you guys think of our roster? What do you guys think going into this week? Obviously, if Amon-Ra plays, we play him, right? So
Yes.
if
Yeah.
T. Higgins plays, do we play him over Etienne?
Yes.
Oh, that's tough.
Now that Burrow's back?
I'll debate on that one. I'll take time to think about that one.
Well,
As an
let's
Etienne
say we're on a
owner in
podcast that
multiple
people
leagues,
listen to and want our
yes.
fantasy
If
advice.
I had to pick right now, I'd
Yeah.
probably go Etienne.
You go Etienne.
I would go Higgins. Okay, I
Okay,
own Etienne in multiple leagues. I would start Higgins.
As a reminder, this is half-point PPR as well. So
I have a big. I could show you right now. I have a big money league that has Etienne and Higgins.
I mean, Etienne had 4 back-to-back great weeks, and then this week he laid an egg.
I don't love the fact that they keep giving Tootin goal line
The
carries.
goal line carries, yeah. I don't like
Yeah,
that either.
that's the only issue too, for sure. I'll agree with that. I just don't
And
like
like,
the
and then he's not
inconsistency
good at him. He's not even good at him. Like I watched him like have like 5 carries inside the 5, and he scored like 1 time or 6 carries. And I'm like, why are you taking Etienne out for this? Like the guy's actually a good running back. Doesn't make sense, but
Yeah.
Amon-Ra is on the, quote, wrong side of questionable. So there's that.
yeah, I don't think it's likely.
Which is unfortunate because he's playing Dallas, and that would have been a great matchup for us.
You know who it is a great matchup for? Jameson Williams.
Yeah, you know who's starting Jameson Williams this week? This
Probably you.
guy. All right, boys. Any final thoughts? I think we covered everything.
No, it is past my dinner time, so
Mine too.
I thought you were going to say bedtime. I was like, it is 6:15, you old man.
well, could be that. Could be that.
All right, well, hope everyone enjoyed having us back. I know I did. I listened to the podcast, and you guys should too. Like, subscribe, whatever. And again, Golshani Lee, great dudes, great law firm, great friends. So go hit them up if you need help with business law or accident injury type situations. They're the people to talk to. Vinny, hush your mouth. Gentlemen, any final things to say to the Devils out there?
Good luck in your fantasy playoffs, or if you're trying to make the playoffs. Not everyone's as spoiled as Vinny.
And Alex, I'm also in.
I'm
I'm playing
told.
for something, but
So-
I am in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, but it's more fun to just make it fun of Vinny. I don't know.
That's fair. All right, say goodbye, fellas.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.